Hey everyone, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy the audiobooks, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support us further, consider becoming a Patreon member. As a member, you'll gain the ability to request the next part of a novel audiobook I've uploaded, depending on your Patreon tier.
Hint: your zombie clone has obtained coal *21, your basic mining experience points plus 29. Hint: your zombie clone has obtained coal *16, your basic mining experience points plus 21. Hint: your zombie clone has obtained coal *22. Hint: your mining skill level has been upgraded to level 2. Half an hour later, seeing that the zombies had found coal, Fang Heng patted the dust off his pants and stood up from the ground. It was time to go back and see what the accommodation for tonight was going to be like. The night was approaching. Zhou Yi and Lu Yu divided the work and cleaned up some of the zombies around the hut. Then, they reinforced the wooden doors and windows of the hut to ensure its safety at night. Everyone lit a bonfire in the hut. You two have worked hard these past few days. Fang Heng casually took out a handful of cold beer from his backpack and placed it beside the bonfire. Then, he threw 2 cans of beer to the two of them. Sorry for displaying my immature skill, but tonight, I'll be cooking for all. Come and have a taste of my cooking. It was a big skewer of meat. This was Fang Heng's ultimate skill. In the game, with the addition of the recipe skill, the taste of the big skewer of meat was so good that it was out of the world. One could never get tired of it. For this reason, Fang Heng even carried a barbecue grill with him. He could eat whenever he wanted to. He took out the meat pieces and made them into skewers. He placed them on the grill and kept turning them, just like a chef. The oil from the fatty acids of the meat sizzled under the heat. The aroma of the skewers drifted directly into Lu Yu and Zhou Yi's nostrils. They couldn't help but drool. In the zombie apocalypse game, Lu Yu and Zhou Yi were considered professional players. They had been studying the game's strategy, so they knew a lot about the game. However, despite their rich experience, all they had been eating these days were baked potatoes, wild vegetables, roasted berries and roasted bird eggs. They had to live a miserable life, barely having enough to eat. After all, they had been desperately completing the Apocalypse Merchant's mission during the day and earning survival points to exchange for Earth-made bombs. They didn't have the extra time to go and find food. They had never thought that there would be someone in the game who could actually be eating big skewers of meat and drinking wine so happily. When they saw Fang Heng sprinkled cumin on the skewered meat and carefully coated it with a layer of secret sauce, both of their eyes were wide open. What the heck? They were wondering if he was here to survive the game or to participate in a gourmet competition. This kind of behavior was too much. Fang Heng raised the beer can. It's been hard on the two of you. Cheers. Let's continue to collaborate in the future. Happy cooperation. If you need our help in the future, feel free to look for us. We are very reliable. Zhou Yi held up the big meat skewer and took a bite. It was delicious. The gravy was packed with freshness, and the fats from the meat were bursting in his mouth. The seasoning blended perfectly. The slightly bursting taste enhanced the aroma of the meat and flowed down from the nose to the throat. Delicacies could heal the soul and chase away fatigue. Zhou Yi ate skewers of meat and drank beer. His mood for the past few days had been on the low side as he was constantly affected by Fang Heng's actions. But he seemed to have finally recovered a little bit, and currently, he could enjoy the hard-won happiness during the apocalypse. He had his fill. Lu Yu and Zhou Yi strongly requested to be responsible for tonight's vigil as an affirmation of the meal. Fang Heng did not object. The few of them began to chat casually again. Oh right, God, although we have defeated Prisoner Snake and the others today, we still have to be careful. Oh. Fang Heng was surprised. He put down the beer in his hand. They still dare to come. God, don't forget that in a few days, the game will open up a channel transmission service. Zhou Yi explained to Fang Heng with a straight face. When the time comes, all players below level 5 in the King of Gods game can spend their points to enter our game world. Prisoner Snake is famous for his bad character, but many people don't want to provoke him. He used to join a gaming guild called Dawn. This time, they failed to attack the prison. They probably guessed that it was you who established the super-large shelter. If he reports to the guild about what happened in the prison, I'm afraid you'll be in trouble. Dawn. Fang Heng muttered softly and nodded. This body had the memories of the guild. Dawn had a very bad reputation in the game. Most of the players in the guild were a bunch of villains. It was indeed true. After the prison and the mercenaries were exposed, Fang Heng felt that he had to face those greedy villains. And as time passed, the restrictions of the game would gradually be opened up. 2 days later, the ban on players below level 5 would be lifted. After a month, players below level 10 would also be able to use their King of Gods points to enter the game. Fang Heng had a premonition that trouble was gradually approaching. But he was not afraid of trouble. In the beginning, he hid his identity carefully and developed silently. He had made this decision so that he can buy more time for the prison to develop and avoid unwanted attention. But it would also greatly sacrifice his development speed. Fang Heng felt that if the enemy was coming, then let them come. What he wanted to do was to always be one step ahead of the players and act on his initiative. He would use his strength to crush them, and he was not afraid of it. If they came, he would kill them, one after another. Although Fang Heng was afraid of death, he still preferred to face them head-on. The next day, the sun rose, dispelling the darkness. Zhou Yi, who was on the vigil, stretched himself. He was lucky. It was very quiet last night. No zombies came to disturb him. Furthermore, he had eaten and drunk enough last night. His mood was much better than the last few days. He stood up and prepared to go outside to breathe some fresh air. Come on, Zhou Yi. Don't be decadent. Face life positively. Zhou Yi patted his cheeks to encourage himself. He also realized that he had been suffering from blows by Fang Heng during this period and his morale was somewhat low. Clack. Pushing open the wooden door of the hut, Zhou Yi was greatly surprised. What was this? Outside the hut, the stones that were gathered earlier on had piled up into more than 10 2-meter-high small hills. These small hills were also mixed with small black stones. Black stones. Was it coal ore? Zhou Yi was puzzled. What was going on? He wondered if he was hallucinating because he had only slept for 4 hours last night. Zhou Yi slowly walked to the front of a small hill and picked up a small piece of black coal. The coal immediately disappeared from his hand. Hint, you have obtained coal *1. It was real. It wasn't an illusion, it was just coal. Bloody hell. Where did all these coal mines come from? Out of thin air? Were ghosts behind this? Was there a bug in the system? Zhou Yi was puzzled and he looked around. He saw a zombie staggering over from afar. Zhou Yi reflexively raised his weapon. This zombie was wearing the lumberjack uniform. It was probably summoned by God. Zhou Yi put down his weapon and slowly took a few steps back, still maintaining his vigilance. The lumberjack zombie ignored Zhou Yi and had no desire to attack. It walked past Zhou Yi and came before the newest small hill. Then, Zhou Yi saw a scene that he would never forget for the rest of his life. The lumberjack zombie took out pieces of rocks from its backpack and threw them at the small hill, adding bricks and tiles to the small hill that was erected high up. After doing all this, it turned around and went back the way it came from. Behind it, 2 more zombies walked back one after another, repeating the same action. This. No way. Could it be that these zombies can mine? Zhou Yi felt like he was going crazy. Impossible. How can zombies help players mine? This is illogical. He immediately followed the zombies, wanting to see what had happened with his own eyes. 5 minutes later, Zhou Yi arrived at the mountain wall. After one night, a 10-meter deep hole had been dug in the mountain wall. The group of zombies he saw yesterday were waving their stone pickaxes and pounding the mountain wall with all their might. Zhou Yi silently sat down. He didn't know what was going on. His mood suddenly became bad again. Hint, while you were offline, your zombie clone obtained small rocks *27, 812, large rocks *97, 39 and coal *62, 84. You obtained 92,821 mining experience points. Hint, your mining skill has been upgraded to level 9. Hint, your mining skill has reached the maximum value that can be upgraded. Please upgrade your character level as soon as possible. Unlocking your mining skill can upgrade your character level to the maximum value. Fang Heng pushed open the wooden door and saw the small hills that were piled up outside the hut. Not bad. However, he still had to distinguish between ordinary rocks and coal. A zombie clone couldn't do such a difficult job. It seemed that he could only trouble Zhou Yi and Lu Yu. Speaking of which, where were they? Why didn't he see them? Could it be that they had gone offline to rest? Fang Heng looked around. 2 days later, players below level 5 could use their King of Gods points to enter the game. At that time, there would be a guild that wanted to join this newly opened server to get a share of the profits. His prison shelter was also bound to face an even greater threat. It would be better for him to complete the Dark Knight's mission as soon as possible. Only great strength could guarantee the safety of the shelter. According to his plan, he had to take all the coal mines to the Apocalypse Merchant to exchange for points. He had to gather all the supplies as soon as possible and head off to the city tomorrow to complete the mission. After making up his mind, Fang Heng sent a message to Zhou Yi and started to differentiate the coal mines. After more than an hour, Fang Heng returned to the Apocalypse Merchant's camp on a modified motorcycle filled with coal ores. The NPC porters in the camp already knew Fang Heng. When they saw him enter the camp, they all came over to help unload the goods. Vettel's friendliness had reached a certain level. He walked out of the hut to welcome him and even threw a can of beer to Fang Heng. "That's great, you've brought us some more supplies. It's my luck to have a reliable friend like you in the apocalypse. Come, let's talk inside." "Thank you." Fang Heng took the beer and followed Vettel into the hut. He opened the mission panel. Mission: collect coal ores, repeatable. Mission description: the Apocalypse Merchant's camp needs a large number of coal ores. Please collect some coal ores and bring them into the camp. Mission reward: 600 survival points. Hint: you have submitted 300 coal ores to the Apocalypse Merchant Vettel. You have received 600 survival points. Hint: you have completed the mission. Hint: your friendship with the Apocalypse Merchant Vettel has improved. Hint: you have submitted 300 coal ores to the Apocalypse Merchant Vettel. You have received 600 survival points. Hint: you have completed the mission. Fang Heng made a rough estimate. One-time delivery of the coal via the modified motorcycle could be exchanged for 2,400 survival points. As the roads in the forest were difficult to navigate, it would take him nearly 2 hours to travel back and forth between the collection point and the Apocalypse Merchant camp. He could only make 7 trips during the day, which would take 14 hours. He couldn't even earn 20,000 survival points in one day. This is not very efficient. Fang Heng muttered and asked Vettel. "Vettel, I have a large number of ores that I want to exchange for survival points. Unfortunately, it's a little troublesome to deliver them over. Do you have any ideas?" "Oh. You have a lot of ore resources." Vettel's eyes lit up when he heard that. He lowered his head and thought for a moment, then shook his head. "We do have a lightweight truck in our camp. Unfortunately, the truck cannot be lent to outsiders. I can't make the decision on this matter." "No other solutions?" Fang Heng was a little disappointed. This would delay him for another day. "Well, I happen to have a mission here. I think you might be interested. Why don't you listen to it first? I have a batch of goods to deliver to a friend who lives next to an abandoned factory. He is a scientist with a very strange temper. Ever since the outbreak of the zombie apocalypse, he has been staying in that D*MN place and refused to leave. To put it simply, the time limit for this mission is 24 hours. You can drive the truck from our camp to deliver the goods. If you complete the mission ahead of time." Vettel winked at Fang Heng. "Fang Heng, I think you understand what I mean, right?" Fang Heng immediately understood what he meant. As expected of Vettel. "The effort that I've put in building a good relationship with you is greatly rewarded." Fang Heng thought to himself. "Vettel, thank you so much. You've helped me a lot." "Ha ha ha, I didn't help you much." Vettel made a, expression. "Remember, you have to bring this truck back safely. If anything happened to it, the compensation will be quite expensive." "No problem." Hint: you have triggered the commission of the Apocalypse Merchant Vettel. Fang Heng opened the mission panel. Mission name: Stubborn Survivor. Mission difficulty, C+. Mission description, Mr. Chiu is a scholar. He has an odd temperament. Even after the apocalypse, he chose to live alone in the villa not far from the abandoned chemical factory. Mission requirements, Vettel needs you to deliver some materials to Mr. Chiu. Please ensure that the materials are complete and delivered within the stipulated time. Mission time limit, 24 hours. Mission reward, 60 survival points. Additional description, if the truck is damaged during the mission, your deposit will be deducted and you will have to pay extra survival points as compensation. Vettel, I accept this mission. Fang Heng accepted the mission. He could easily complete an SSS level mission, not to mention the C+ level mission. It was just a delivery. Fang Heng did not take it seriously. Hint, you accepted the mission, stubborn survivor. Hint, you pay the deposit of 2,000 survival points as the deposit for the truck. Alright, I'll get my men to load the goods now. You can set off in 10 minutes. No problem. Fang Heng agreed. He took some time to glance at the location of the mission target marked on the mission panel. It was very far. He roughly estimated that it would take 2.5 hours to get there from the Apocalypse merchant camp. The round trip would take about 5 hours. After walking out of Vettel's hut, Fang Heng immediately saw a blue light truck parked outside the camp. Lightweight truck. Length, 3.5 meters. Loading capacity, 2.8 tons. D*MN. With such a large capacity truck, he could transport all the coal mines dug last night with just one trip. Fang Heng was a little envious. When there was an opportunity in the future, he had to think of a way to obtain a truck back to the prison. When that time came, it would be convenient to transport the minerals. Fang Heng thought to himself. The NPC porters in the camp were fervently moving the wooden boxes onto the truck. The boxes were even labeled, "Fragile items, please be careful." The fuel tank of the truck has been pumped to the brim. In addition to food and daily necessities, there are also some special research materials in the boxes. I've told you before. Mr. Chiu is a scientist. He has been conducting research related to zombies. These things are all requested by him. You should be more careful when driving. It's going to be a problem if those boxes are overturned. No problem. I drive very steadily. Fang Heng sat in the driver's seat. Hint, detected that the player has normal driving skills. Do you want to use 100 survival points to exchange for skill driving? Fang Heng reached out his hand and tapped on the confirmation button. Hint, you have acquired basic skill driving. Skill, driving, level 1. Skill description, you can drive most of the car-type tools and reduce the fuel consumption by 1%. It was better than nothing. Vettel, see you tomorrow. Fang Heng waved at Vettel as a form of gesture before driving the truck out of the Apocalypse merchant camp. According to the markings on the map, after leaving the Apocalypse merchant camp, Fang Heng needed to cross a part of the forest area before he could reach the highway. The beginning of the route was the most bumpy. Because there was no road, the truck was unusually bumpy. Fang Heng was worried about the fragile items in the trunk, so he could only slow down. If this goes on, I'll definitely get hemorrhoids. Fang Heng's bottom hurt from the jolt, and he grumbled softly. After the mercenary recruitment was completed, he might as well spend some time building a road to avoid future suffering. After nearly an hour and a half, Fang Heng turned the steering wheel and steered the truck into a repaired road. Only then did the truck start to accelerate slowly. The difficulty of the mission was only C+, so there was no danger along the way. Occasionally, when he encountered zombies blocking the road, Fang Heng would mostly steer the truck around them. If he really couldn't go around them, Fang Heng would seek stability. He slowly stopped the truck, got out of the truck and got rid of the zombies before continuing forward. It took Fang Heng 3.5 hours to arrive at an independent villa less than 500 meters away from the abandoned factory. This was the delivery location indicated by the mission. The independent villa had a total of 3 floors, surrounded by 3 wooden spikes of various sizes. Fang Heng saw dark red blood stains on the spikes. These basic defense structures were very effective against elementary zombies. Mr. Chiu. Are you there? Vettel asked me to deliver the materials to you. Fang Heng stood outside and shouted in the direction of the villa. There was no reaction inside. Strange. Why was there no one? Fang Heng tried shouting again. Mr. Chiu. Your express delivery. If you don't accept it, I'll put it in the express delivery cabinet. There was still no reaction. Fang Heng frowned. He thought he should get closer and use a small stone hammer to open the window to see the situation inside the villa. Just as he raised his left foot, Fang Heng pulled it back. It was strange. He had a premonition. This villa was dangerous. Is my passive skill, danger perception, working? Fang Heng was puzzled. Suddenly, he was keenly aware of a slight noise coming from the bushes nearby. He turned his head abruptly. A head popped out from the bushes. Keep your voice down. Are you trying to attract all the zombies nearby? Chiu Yaokong waved at Fang Heng. Follow me first. Fang Heng glanced at Chiu Yaokong, then nodded and followed him into the bushes. Behind the bushes, there was a hole in the barbed wire fence. Fang Heng followed behind Chiu Yaokong and went into the backyard of the villa through the hole. In the backyard, Chiu Yaokong laboriously lifted up the underground passage hidden under the turf and fixed the steel plate of the passage. What a guy! Only then did Fang Heng realize that the entrance to the building was in the backyard. One had to go through a downward tunnel to enter. Chiu Yaokong might look thin and weak, and also malnourished. But he had a knack for digging tunnels. Chiu Yaokong looked to be in his early 30s. He wore a pair of black-rimmed glasses, a white research suit and a pair of medical gloves. Wait a minute. Chiu Yaokong entered the tunnel as he spoke. Soon, he pushed a small cart out. Vettel told me about you. Help me bring in all the materials. Thank you. We're going through the bushes. Aren't we going through the main door? The main door. It's too small. Chiu Yaokong shook his head. I've set up traps inside the main door. It's the entrance reserved for the intruders. Hiss. Fang Heng sucked in a breath of cold air. No wonder he felt danger just now. The boxes that Vettel had packed in advance were huge and heavy. Fang Heng could barely carry them by himself, so he worked together with Chiu Yaokong to carry them. After going back and forth a few times and dividing them into several batches, the two of them finally moved all the materials in the truck into the passage in the basement of the backyard. The underground passage was quite big. Fang Heng looked at the layout of the basement. He could see several independent rooms at a glance. The passage was also cleaned up. It could be seen that this place was often cleaned. Chiu Yaokong took out a tissue and carefully wiped the sweat on his forehead. I'll trouble you to help me move the box into the laboratory. Thank you. Laboratory. Where? As Fang Heng spoke, he bent down to carry the box. Wait a moment. Chiu Yaokong raised his hand to block Fang Heng. Go to the changing room over there first. There are new protective clothing and hats in there. Change into them. Remember to wash your hands and put on gloves. Fang Heng sized up Chiu Yaokong. Is it necessary? Hurry up. Don't waste time. Okay. Fang Heng didn't want to waste time. He walked into the changing room, put on a protective suit, hat and gloves, then followed Chiu Yaokong into the laboratory. The laboratory was bigger than Fang Heng had expected. He even saw a few zombie corpses lying on the autopsy table in the corner of the laboratory. Help me out here. Put the 3 white compartmentalized boxes in the pathway against the wall. Thank you. Fang Heng nodded. He lifted the boxes in the pathway with great effort, carried them into the laboratory and placed them on the floor. Chiu Yaokong had been exhausted while carrying the boxes earlier on. Even now, his arms were still trembling. As he leaned against the wall of the laboratory, he looked at Fang Heng. Your strength and stamina are pretty good. Fang Heng turned his head to look at him. It should be a little better than a science nerd like you. Fang Heng thought. Chiu Yaokong frowned. Don't look at me like that. I do an hour of scientific exercise every day. Recently, because I stayed up late, my physical condition is only slightly worse than that of an ordinary person. Okay, you're really amazing. Fang Heng teased. Fang Heng put down the second box heavily. It was a little tiring to carry the box alone. He was too lazy to talk to him. He just wanted to complete the task quickly and return to deliver the goods as soon as possible. Qiu Yaokang adjusted his spectacles and examined Fang Heng. Please help me push the box to the corner. Thank you. Got it. Fang Heng replied and turned his back to push the box. Qiu Yaokang gently took out a pack of tissues from his pocket and threw it at Fang Heng's back. It was as if Fang Heng had eyes on his back. He suddenly raised his hand and grabbed the pack of tissues that flew towards him from behind. F***CK. What are you doing? Fang Heng was a little angry. It was one thing for him not to help, but what was the meaning of throwing a tissue pack at someone? Qiu Yaokang did not answer. He just stared at Fang Heng. Fang Heng was a little intimidated by the stare. Why are you looking at me? Qiu Yaokang continued to stare intensely at Fang Heng. You're not right. Fang Heng, you're the one who's not right. Qiu Yaokang retracted his aggressive gaze. Your physical fitness is better than that of an ordinary person. Your perceptive ability is at least twice that of an ordinary person. Fang Heng curled his lips when he heard that. You've discovered me. Little genius. Fang Heng thought. As a matter of fact, Fang Heng had learned all three basic attribute skills of physique, agility, and strength. He had even acquired a B-level perceptive skill. Qiu Yaokang turned around and walked out of the laboratory door. Follow me. What now? You're not moving the boxes anymore. I don't need you to move them anymore. Help me with something else. Thank you. Can I choose not to help? Don't waste everyone's time. You're really amazing. Fang Heng thought to himself. He was almost angered to the point of laughter. Fang Heng followed Qiu Yaokang into another room at the end of the basement. In the middle of the room was a metal door frame that looked like an airport security check. On the door frame were more than a dozen wires of various sizes and colors. The other end of the wire was connected to a large machine at the side. Qiu Yaokang did a demonstration in front of Fang Heng and walked through the door frame. It's your turn. Fang Heng felt that Vettel was right. This friend of his must have a little problem with his brain. Qiu Yaokang urged. Hurry up. Fang Heng shrugged. He modeled after Qiu Yaokang and walked through the door frame. Beep 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 beep. Just as he passed through the metal door frame, the alarm sounded. Fang Heng turned around and looked at Qiu Yaokang blankly. I told you, something is wrong with you. Qiu Yaokang had expected this. He walked to the large machine beside him and checked the data report on the screen. Recently, I've heard people say that after a zombie dies, there is a very small probability that it will leave a crystal with special energy in its body. Some people with special physiques can absorb this crystal. I call this crystal the mutation crystal. I'm not sure if it's a form of mutation. The effect of the mutation crystal on the human body remains to be seen. From the information I've gathered so far, the mutation crystal has a positive effect on the human body. Fang Heng muttered in his heart. The people with special physiques that you mentioned should all be players, right? You must have absorbed the mutation crystals to cause the mutation of your body. Qiu Yaokang raised his head and looked at Fang Heng. The degree of the mutation of your body is quite high. Your various physiques are also higher than ordinary people, especially your perceptive ability. Yes, because my level is high. Fang Heng continued to mumble in his heart. You must have absorbed a large number of mutation crystals. Qiu Yaokang stared at Fang Heng. Am I right? Answer me. You guessed right. Fang Heng only wanted to end this mission as soon as possible. As he spoke, he took out an evolution crystal fragment from his backpack and threw it at Qiu Yaokang. By the way, we call this thing evolution crystal fragment. Oh. Qiu Yaokang's eyes lit up. He was very interested in crystals. He took the crystal fragment and observed it. I've done a lot of research and killed a lot of zombies. This is the first time I've seen this crystal structure with my own eyes. Of course, NPCs wouldn't drop crystals when they killed zombies. Fang Heng answered in his heart. I think you're not very lucky. Qiu Yaokang kept the crystal. He turned around, took out a small bottle of green potion from somewhere and threw it at Fang Heng. Fang Heng took the bottle that flew over. Looking at the description, Fang Heng's heart skipped a beat. Hint, you have obtained an item modified zombie strength enhanced gene potion. Item, modified zombie strength enhanced gene potion. Creator, Qiu Yaokong. Description 1, a potion made from the zombie virus. After use, it can permanently increase strength attribute by 1 point. This potion can be used repeatedly and can increase strength attribute by up to 5 points. Description 2, using this potion will cause the player's gene state to become unstable. The player will gain a negative state, gene chaos. After each use, the player's gene state will increase by 10% to 30%, and when it reaches 80%, the player will be directly infected by the zombie virus, resulting in death. Description 3, the player can eliminate this status by consuming the evolution crystal. I want this crystal. I never take other people's things for free. This can be considered a reward. Amazing. Fang Heng was overjoyed when he heard this. Players could also make similar drugs, but at least in the middle and later stages of the game. Moreover, the materials needed to make these drugs were many and complicated, and the success rate was not high. In the past servers, these potions and the raw materials for these potions were firmly controlled by the big game guilds and gaming companies. Fang Heng directly raised his head and gulped down the potion. Hint, you have taken the modified zombie strength enhancing gene potion. Your basic strength point +1. Hint, if you take this potion multiple times, the effect will gradually decrease. Hint, you have obtained the gene chaos state. Hint, your gene chaos state has been increased to 13%. Hint, you can use 13 evolution crystal fragments or 1 complete evolution crystal to eliminate this state. Help me pass on a message to Vettel. I need him to help me collect more of these crystals. I will need them for my next research. Qiu Yaokong rubbed his chin and said, as for the reward. After finishing the bottle of potion, Fang Heng still wanted more. He interrupted, do you still have those modified potions? Huh. Qiu Yaokong raised his head and looked at Fang Heng. There are still some flaws in this potion. If you use it many times, you'll be at risk of being infected by the zombie virus. You can check your arm. Arm. Hearing that, Fang Heng pulled up his protective suit and checked his arm. He found that a greenish-gray color unique to zombies had appeared on his arm from his wrist. The greenish-gray color gradually rose and spread to his arm. It looked a little scary. Fang Heng was not worried at all. He had a lot of evolution crystal fragments with him. He could easily use them to eliminate the status. I understand. I understand the negative effect of the potion. I can exchange the evolution crystal fragments with you. Do you think these are enough? Fang Heng took out a bunch of evolution crystal fragments from his backpack. He placed them on his palm and handed them to Qiu Yaokong. Qiu Yaokong's calm face finally showed a moment of surprise. He looked at Fang Heng and wondered how he could get so many crystals. If it's not enough, I still have more. The first step requires at least 100 crystal fragments. If you... Alright, I'll give you 200. Fang Heng still had nearly 400 mutated crystal fragments left in his backpack. He had been vexed on how he could get rid of them. Now, he could use these fragments to exchange for potions that could directly increase his attributes. It was too profitable. Alright, I've already told you about the side effects of using potions. You come with me. Qiu Yaokong and Fang Heng returned to the previous laboratory together. He opened the password-protected freezer in the corner and took out the box containing 20 bottles of the potion. This type of potion is my latest research result. Because of the raw materials used in creating this potion, it cannot be mass-produced. As the number of uses increases, the effect of the potion will gradually weaken until it is completely ineffective. Currently, there are 3 types of potions: strength, agility, and physique. There are also side effects. For an ordinary person, the limit is 3 doses of the potion. If he continues to take more doses, there will be a great risk of being infected by the zombie virus. Risk of being infected by the virus? I'm not afraid. I have a lot of evolution crystal fragments at hand. Fang Heng thought to himself as he looked at the box of potions, his eyes glowing with delight. Can I take all of these? Qiu Yaokong frowned. No, you can only use it here. That's great. If it's not enough, can I still ask you for more? Fang Heng was delighted and continued to inquire, in exchange, I can help you get more evolution crystal fragments in the future. For research, it would be good to have more of such things, right? Qiu Yaokong's frown deepened. He felt that Fang Heng was not following the usual pattern. Sure, but the preparation of the potion will take some time, about 2 to 3 days. Deal. Fang Heng was very satisfied with the deal. He immediately took out 200 evolution crystal fragments from his backpack and piled them on an empty experiment table. Qiu Yaokong was surprised again. How many zombies did he kill to get so many evolution crystal fragments? You can count them. There are 200 fragments in total. Fang Heng said and took the box from Qiu Yaokong. The evolution crystal fragments were time-sensitive. They could be sold for some money at this stage, but they would become very cheap when the players reached higher levels. Fang Heng knew very well that he had received the first wave of benefits from the game. Currently, the players in the game had yet to reach a higher level. They were still unable to trigger Qiu Yaokong's mission, nor did they have the ability to farm zombies in large numbers to earn evolution crystal fragments. However, he had already reached level 9. There was no need for evolution crystal fragments at all. Hint: you have given Qiu Yaokong 200 crystal fragments. You have received a modified zombie strength enhanced gene potion *6, a modified zombie physique enhanced gene potion *7 and a modified zombie agility enhanced gene potion *7. Hint: your friendship with Qiu Yaokong has improved slightly. After completing such a huge transaction, the friendship between them had only improved slightly. What an aloof guy. Fang Heng was in a good mood. He didn't care about Qiu Yaokong's indifference. He took out a bottle of strength-enhanced gene potion from the box and opened the cap. Qiu Yaokong finished counting the number of evolution crystal fragments he had obtained from the transaction with Fang Heng. When he turned around and saw Fang Heng starting to take the potion again, he couldn't help but remind him. Let me remind you again. There is a flaw in this potion. It cannot be used in large quantities. I know. I have a way to solve this flaw. Fang Heng chuckled. With a flip of his wrist, he took out more than 10 evolution crystal fragments and held them in his hand. Bang! With a slight force from his hand, the crystal fragments exploded at the same time and dispersed into a ball of red mist. The mist was instantly absorbed by Fang Heng. Hint: you have consumed 13 evolution crystal fragments. Your negative state, Gene Chaos, has been eliminated. Fang Heng waved his arm at Qiu Yaokong. Hee hee, how is it? Qiu Yaokong narrowed his eyes as he was taken aback by this. He saw the greenish-gray color on the back of Fang Heng's hand quickly disappear. The evolution crystal had this ability. Qiu Yaokong found a new research agenda. His expression quickly returned to indifference. He nodded and said, "Not bad." Fang Heng continuously crushed the crystal fragments with one hand and opened the bottle he had exchanged for with the other hand. He drank tons of it. Hint: you have consumed the modified zombie strength enhanced gene potion *6, the modified zombie physique enhanced gene potion *7, the modified zombie agility enhanced gene potion *7. Hint: your basic strength attribute +3, your basic physique attribute +4 and your basic agility attribute +3. Hint: your gene instability status has been increased to 55%. After consuming 20 bottles of the potion, the evolution crystal fragments in Fang Heng's backpack had been completely consumed. Fang Heng opened his character's attributes to check. Player, Fang Heng. Level, 9. HP, 158/158. Vitality, 100/100. Spirit, 100 out of 100. Energy, 83/100. Strength, 10.8. Agility, 9.8. Physique, 10.8. Will, 5. Perception, 15. Intelligence, 5. Fang Heng tried to wave his arms, his fists clenching so tightly that they creaked. In an instant, his basic attributes increased by 4 points. He could feel the increase in his strength. Fang Heng even felt he could kill a cow with a single punch. This effect was much more obvious than when he had just learned the strength training skill. After all, the skill book at level 1 only increased attributes by 0.2 points. Fang Heng checked again. Each potion was still 1 to 2 points away from the maximum of 5 points. I still need 20 more potions. Come back in 3 days according to the agreement, by then I will need more evolution crystal fragments. Qiu Yaokong nodded solemnly and with a cold expression, ordered Fang Heng to leave. Okay, your mission is completed. If there's nothing else, you can leave now. Hey. I just wanted to ask for more potions. You won't get angry over such a small matter, right? Fang Heng muttered to himself while he waved his hand and said goodbye to Qiu Yaokong. I'll come back in 3 days. After seeing Fang Heng off, Qiu Yaokong locked the iron gate at the entrance of the basement. His cold expression was wiped off from his face and he suddenly became extremely animated and thrilled to the extent that his body couldn't help but tremble due to his excitement. Great discovery. Evolution crystal fragments. Improved body attributes. Eliminated the negative effects of the potions. In the afternoon, Lu Yu and Zhou Yi had finished distributing the ores. They sat in front of the small hills of ores and looked at the zombies coming and going. Lu Yu said, I counted them. There are 45 zombies in total. Zhou Yi shook his head and corrected him, but you counted wrong. It should be 43. Lu Yu pondered for a moment. I majored in mathematics. So what? Do you think I counted wrong? No, boss. I think you're right. I counted wrong. Sigh, it's a pity that these zombies are a little stupid. Otherwise, they would be really powerful. After all, in the middle of the game, ordinary zombies are no longer a big threat. The enemy can target these zombies and kill them all. Even so, they are still very powerful. They are strong laborers and they don't even need to consume their vitality points. They can make a lot of money by constantly mining. That's true. The talent of God is ridiculous. With them around, God can still make money by lying down. From a distance, they saw a small truck coming from the road. The truck stopped by the roadside. The door opened. Seeing Fang Heng get off the truck, their expressions became strange again. He was still riding a motorcycle when he went out in the morning and it had turned into a truck when he came back. Lu Yu felt that this truck looked familiar. Wasn't it the one in the Apocalypse Merchant camp? God, did you steal the truck from the Apocalypse Merchant? I borrowed it. Oh. Lu Yu nodded and asked in a serious tone, do you need to return it? Fang Heng was tongue-tied for a moment. If he didn't return it, it would probably be survival points deducted from the deposit, plus being hunted down by all the Apocalypse Merchants and their companions. I think it's better to return it. Ha. Lu Yu laughed and said, that's right. After all, we are living in a harmonious society. It would be inappropriate to be stealing and robbing from others, right? Fang Heng ordered the zombie clones to stop mining and move the coal into the truck. God, the day after tomorrow, the game will open the server transfer system for players below level 5. The recruits of our company will also be transferred from other places to District 8. In between moving the ores, Zhou Yi took the opportunity to inform Fang Heng and to say farewell to him. When the time comes, we are prepared to leave this forest area and develop elsewhere. Zhou Yi had suffered quite a few blows during this period. After he got a hold of himself, he carefully thought about the development of his gaming company in the future, and finally decided to find another way out. Fang Heng would most likely continue to extend and develop outwards with the prison area as his base, and this area would be reserved by Fang Heng. What a joke! The nearby resources were all taken by God. If they were to continue staying here and getting things that they want, it might even cause God to be unhappy. Instead of this, they might as well develop in another place. Of course, this was one of the many reasons. Zhou Yi had a meeting at the company in the morning. They all agreed that with the domineering nature of the Dawn Gaming Guild, they would make a move on the prison. The prison was a piece of fat meat. The strong defense capabilities on the outside, coupled with the first super-large shelter established by Fang Heng in the game. Not to mention that there was also the Apocalypse Merchant camp nearby. It was a golden start. No one could resist this temptation. If the Federation knew about this prison, they would be tempted and try to buy it for a large sum of money. Not to mention Dawn, who had no bottom line. When that time came, there would be a battle between Dawn and Fang Heng. Dawn was a powerful gaming union, and Fang Heng was not someone to be trifled with. Zhou Yi felt that this was a protracted battle. No matter who won or lost, it would have an impact on a small developing company like theirs. If they continued to stay here, they would only be dragged into dirty waters. Having a change of location for future development was the best solution. Fang Heng did not think too much about it. That's a pity. I wanted to work with both of you for a longer period. It's all right. We can continue to work together in the future. The location of the new shelter has been decided. If we have a vehicle in the future, we can get there in half a day's drive. Let's keep in touch. If you need help, feel free to contact me. As for the next 2 days, I will continue to look for mines nearby. Fang Heng nodded in agreement. Have a smooth journey. I will ask Liao Bufan to prepare the food and materials that I promised you. If I am not here, you can go directly to the prison to look for him. Fang Heng had made a deal with Zhou Yi. He would use food and basic materials as a condition, and Zhou Yi would help him explore the terrain around the prison, looking for possible mineral deposits. In the beginning, Fang Heng asked Zhou Yi to explore the mineral deposits not for survival points, but strategic reserves in the future. While the other players were still building shelters and no one was competing, Fang Heng could make the first move and let the zombie clones mine first, hoarding all kinds of resources. The underground shelter he was building was big enough to store a large number of materials. Seeing that the zombie clones had finished with the materials, Fang Heng gave the order to all the zombie clones to kill themselves before returning to the Apocalypse merchant camp. With Fang Heng's current level, the zombies would resurrect after 20 hours. Tomorrow, he would go to Hope Town, which was about 200 kilometers away from the camp, to do a mission. After all, the zombie clones moved too slowly, and it would take too much time to walk there. The simplest way was to make them commit suicide. After 20 hours, they would automatically be resurrected by Fang Heng's side. The ride in the truck was bumpy and Fang Heng finally returned to the merchant camp before sunset. The NPC porters were used to it. Seeing Fang Heng, they hurried to help unload the goods. The Apocalypse camp was bustling with activity. Vettel also walked out of the hut. Fang Heng, Mr. Chiu asked me about you earlier on. This is the first time he's interested in a stranger. How did you do it? I gave him some experimental materials. Vettel slapped his head and said, as expected, his mind is only filled with experiments. Fang Heng shrugged and his game log started to refresh again. Hint, you have submitted 300 units of coal to the Apocalypse merchant Vettel. You have obtained 600 survival points. Hint, you have completed the mission. Hint, your friendship with the Apocalypse merchant Vettel has improved. Hint, you have submitted 300 units of coal to the Apocalypse merchant Vettel. You have obtained 600 survival points. Hint, you have completed the mission. The hint was refreshed for more than 10 minutes before the porters emptied the truck. Fang Heng looked at his backpack. He had received a total of 350,000 survival points this time. The demand for coal in the Apocalypse camp was much higher than for wooden planks. The mission could still be continued. Fang Heng opened Vettel's trading interface to purchase items. Item, standard shotgun. Type, firearm. Additional skill, recoil. Skill description, after using this weapon, there is a 60% chance of a 1-second stun, and the hit rate of this attack will be reduced by 60%. Description 1, a firearm that can cause great damage at close range. The disadvantage is that it has a short range. Due to its strong recoil, it is difficult for ordinary people to use it. Description 2, when the weapon's strength points reach 6.5, it can be equipped and used. When the weapon's strength points reached 8, it can cancel the hit rate reduction effect of the skill, recoil. When the weapon's strength points reach 10, it is completely immune to the effect of the skill, recoil. After completing a mission, Fang Heng's strength points had reached 10.8 points. He could easily use a shotgun and ignore the recoil effect. He bought it. Item, standard bulletproof vest. Type, equipment. Defense, plus 10. Description 1, wearing a bulletproof vest can effectively reduce the damage after being attacked by a gun. The prerequisite is that you don't get shot in the head. Description 2, made of special materials, a composite defense structure. If unlucky enough to be caught by a zombie, it can also provide decent defense. Description 3, it is sweltering in the summer, and it is easier to sweat after wearing it. As a result, you are more likely to feel hot and thirsty. Item, Butcher's Machete. Type, Weapon. Level, Rare. Damage, 30 to 60. Description 1. The machete left behind by the butcher unto after his death is stained with his grievances and resentment before his death. When attacking a zombie, it can cause additional damage to the current strength of the player and has a probability of producing a dismemberment effect. Description 2. Because the machete is extremely heavy, it requires 9.5 strength and 8.5 physique. Fang Heng licked his lips. The attributes of this machete were very strong. He had seen it the last time he was here. Unfortunately, his attributes at that time were not enough to equip it. Now, 10.8 strength was enough to satisfy the requirement. Item, Whetstone. Type, Consumable. Description, when used, it can temporarily deal 20 damage to weapons such as swords and sabers. Item, Small Explosive Pack. Type, Consumable. Description, a powerful explosion will occur 5 minutes after the specified time. It will cause a large amount of damage to all living creatures and buildings within its range. Please use it carefully. Item, Molotov Cocktail. Type, Consumable. Description, throw the Molotov cocktail and it will cause a large amount of fire damage. Hint, you have obtained Standard Shotgun *1, Shotgun Bullets *350, Standard Bulletproof Vest *1, Molotov Cocktail *10, Butcher's Machete *1, Whetstone *5, Small Explosive Pack *3. After completing the purchase, out of the 350,000 survival points that he had obtained today, only 2,000 points were left. The sun had already set. Fang Heng did not have the time to return to the prison, so he decided to stay in the apocalypse camp to rest for the night. It's on me today. I'll treat you to a drink tonight. Vettel had earned a lot of money today. He smiled and gave Fang Heng, his big customer, free accommodations and provided him with a luxurious single-room hut. Fang Heng enjoyed a sumptuous feast, courtesy of Vettel, in the game and then went offline early. He was going to enter a dangerous town tomorrow. Fang Heng planned to rest early tonight. He logged out of the game and opened the game pod. Fang Heng stretched his back. It was not yet 8 o'clock at night, but Team 3 of Phoenix Sound Gaming Company was still full of zest and energy. Most of the workers were still working overtime in front of their computers, and 2/3 of the gaming cabins were still operating. To be more precise, Team 3 had people working overtime 24 hours a day. A bunch of struggling fighters. Fang Heng muttered softly and picked up his phone to check. There were a few missed calls and a few messages on his phone. Xiaoxi, Fang Heng, how's your new job? Are you used to it? Xiaoxi, the Seoul team this year is just as weak as before. I watched their qualifiers and did a comparison. They're not a match for us. Xiaoxi, they played dirty. Xiaoxi, I won. I'm so tired. Lie flat. Xiaoxi, not bad. My friend said that you did well and helped her out. Xiaoxi, you didn't embarrass me. I knew you could do it. Good luck. Unknown number, hello, Mr. Fang Heng. Your accommodation has been arranged. Please go to the front desk to get your work permit and dormitory card. If you have any questions, please contact. Okay, the staff dormitory has been arranged. Now I can't stay in a hotel anymore. Fang Heng shrugged and replied to Xiaoxi. Is the competition over? When will you be back? Seeing that Xiaoxi didn't reply immediately, Fang Heng put away his phone and went to the front desk on the first floor of the company to get his work permit and dormitory card. The dormitory was very close to the company and was located on the campus 2 streets away. It only took 10 minutes to walk there. Fang Heng went to the convenience store next door to buy some daily necessities and entered the campus with his dormitory card. As he walked forward, Fang Heng checked the dormitory check-in manual given by the receptionist. 4 people are living in a villa and each person has a separate room. Independent bathroom, independent study room, independent gaming room. This company has such good benefits. Fang Heng was secretly surprised. He remembered that when he was a professional player in the past, he didn't have such good treatment. Every day in the villa, there will be cleaner aunties in charge of tidying up the area and cleaning the rooms. Fresh ingredients will be provided in the fridge 24 hours a day. If you want to have supper, you can call the chef to send it over. So luxurious. Was running a gaming company that profitable? I live in a top-class villa area. There are also high-end villa areas, normal apartment areas and high-end apartment areas. The conditions in the apartment areas should be a little worse. Fang Heng put away the manual. He raised his head and looked around, looking for the location of villa number 3 on the campus. Coincidentally, 2 young men walked in front of him. The 2 of them chatted and laughed along the way. The taller one was holding a can of beer in his hand. They noticed Fang Heng, who was looking for directions. You're going the wrong way. The villa area is ahead. The apartment area is over there. Huh. Fang Heng lowered his head and looked at the number on the room card. That's right. I'm staying in villa number 3. Villa number 3. Xiao Jijia was stunned. He leaned over to take a look at Fang Heng's room card, and a strange expression appeared on his face. It was villa number 3. Is there a problem? No. Xiao Jijia came back to his senses. Villa number 3 is just ahead. Go straight to the end, turn right and you'll find it. Thank you. They brushed past each other. The more Xiao Jijia thought about it, the weirder he felt. He turned his head to look back at Fang Heng again and whispered to his companion, Ji Kai. Have you seen that person before? Isn't he a newbie? He's living in villa number 3. I haven't seen him either. Didn't you see his room card just now? What's his name? Fang Heng. Oh, I remember him a little. I heard the old woman from the Human Resource Department talking about him behind his back. Not long ago, a person who pulled strings was approved by President Qin to enter the company. His name is Fang Heng. Pulled strings. Xiao Jijia frowned and was suddenly a little unhappy. The entire Phoenix Sound Gaming Company only had 3 top-class villas. They could accommodate up to 12 people and enjoy the highest level of treatment. Phoenix Sound Gaming Company always had a tradition. These 3 villas were reserved for the company's best players to stay in. These 12 people represented the strongest players of the entire Phoenix Sound Gaming Company. Ever since Phoenix Sound Gaming Company was acquired some time ago, most of the top players in the company had already left. There were only 2 players who still stayed in the top-class villas. Xiao Jijia had tried to apply to live in the top-class villas before, but he was rejected the next day. If he was not qualified to live in the top-class villas, how could a newcomer who pulled strings could be qualified? Humph, President Qin said that she would put quality before quantity. Now that a friend has come, he can just move in. Xiao Jijia was angry and began to complain non-stop. Another president who doesn't know anything and only knows how to give orders blindly has arrived. If this goes on, I also want to leave my job. Listen to both sides and you'll be enlightened. Listen to only one side and you will remain ignorant. Ji Kai was relatively calm. He advised, what that old woman in the Human Resource Department said may not be true. Let's wait and see. Xiao Jijia pursed his lips. The more he thought about it, the more uncomfortable he felt. Okay, as you said, seeing is believing. I'll test him. Xiao Jijia nodded. He drank the remaining beer in the can in one gulp. Hey, what do you want to do? Don't look for trouble. TCH, what are you afraid of? What can a person who only knows how to pull strings do? Xiao Jijia turned around as he spoke. He raised the can in his hand and threw it at Fang Heng's back. Fang Heng was walking forward and seemed to be completely unaware of the can coming from behind. I told you, pulling strings is. As Xiao Jijia spoke, the corner of his mouth revealed a disdainful smile. But in the next second, this smile froze on his face. As the beer can was about to hit Fang Heng's back, Fang Heng suddenly stopped and stretched out a hand. Pa. Fang Heng didn't even turn his head. He steadily stretched out his hand and caught the can with ease. Ji Kai's eyes flashed with surprise. Just now you said that he pulled strings to enter the company. Now you're dumbfounded. Fang Heng slowly turned around and looked at Xiao Jijia. It's over. I've offended a high-level player. Xiao Jijia was shocked by Fang Heng's action. He immediately realized that Fang Heng was not someone who pulled strings to enter the company, like what the old woman in the Human Resource Department said. Given Fang Heng's gaze, Xiao Jijia scratched his head awkwardly. I'm sorry. It was my fault. My hand slipped just now. It's okay. Fang Heng smiled gently. Just be careful next time. Xiao Jijia let out a sigh of relief. He thought that it was all right. Fang Heng seemed to have a gentle temperament. I'll return it to you. As Fang Heng spoke, he squeezed the can in his hand into a ball and suddenly exerted force. Xiao. The can that was squeezed into a ball was thrown back at Xiao Jijia. Pa. Io. Xiao Jijia couldn't dodge in time. The can hit his forehead and immediately caused a small swelling. Sorry, my hand slipped. Fang Heng gave an apologetic smile and turned around to leave. Fang Heng felt very strange. Previously, his back was facing the can, but he could sense that a can was being thrown at him from behind. In the end, it turned out to be true. The can that came at him from behind, regardless of the angle and strength, was the same as the perceived state of the can. Could it be because of the in-game skill danger perception? How could it be? But Fang Heng thought and looked down at his palm again. He clenched his fist tightly. It seemed that he had also become stronger. Could it be that transmigration had brought about a change in his body? There was such an advantage. Fang Heng shook his head and temporarily stopped thinking about these things. He walked into Villa number 3. The villa was cleaned thoroughly. The first floor was a public living room, while the second and third floors were separated from each other. Fang Heng's room was 301. It was located on the left side of the third floor of the villa. The company is really rich. Fang Heng walked up to the third floor and entered the room. He casually placed the daily necessities he bought on the table and lay down comfortably on the sofa. I bought it for nothing. There are all kinds of daily necessities ready-made. It's 100% new. Fang Heng went to take a shower. When he came back, he felt bored, so he went to check out the official game forum. The newly opened forum of District 8. He clicked to enter. Fang Heng glanced at the page. The forum was filled with the mourning of various players and all kinds of pleas for help. It's over, it's all over. The house has been demolished, and there's no food left. I can't hold on anymore. Should I kill myself? Brother, stop talking. I'm hungry just like you. Don't kill yourself. Hold on for as long as you can. It's counted as part of the game's duration. You only have 3 lives. You have to hold on. Hee, our team was harassed by zombies again last night. We don't have the energy to go out and explore during the day. We'll just lie down and starve again. What if my teammates are infected? Can they be saved? They can't be saved. Tie them up and wait for them to turn into zombies. Some tree roots can be eaten, but there's a chance of diarrhea. I suggest you mix them with food every day. We're short of nails. Does anyone know how to get nails? The big boss upstairs has started to build a shelter. Tell me, how did you get food? The shelter has been attacked. What should we do if a few zombies block the entrance? Brothers, help me think of a way out. It's quite urgent. Don't say anything. Just close your eyes and muddle along for a while. Most of the posts were about players exchanging experiences. How could they starve better and muddle along better to lengthen the game time? Fang Heng browsed through the posts. He felt that the content was almost the same. There were no practical survival skills, so he did not continue reading. Tomorrow's mission location was Hope Town. Hope Town was about 200 kilometers away from the Apocalypse merchant camp. Fang Heng estimated that it would take 3 to 6 hours to get there by motorcycle, depending on the road conditions. Fang Heng tried to search the forum for information related to Hope Town. Line marked red information appeared on the first page. The post was posted by the forum management 3 days ago. The federal government has cleared a large farm warehouse in District 8 and turned it into a temporary shelter and material collection point. The location is about 3 kilometers south of Hope Town. Any player in District 8 can get shelter in the warehouse for free. The federal government will be responsible for the safety of the players. But the federal government will not provide any survival material resources to the survivors. In addition, the Federation would also issue various resource collection missions to the players. The players could choose to exchange their resources with the Federation for real-world coins. Exchanging resources for money? I wonder if they lack wooden planks. Fang Heng muttered softly. Even if they did, Fang Heng would not exchange wooden planks for money with the Federation. As Fang Heng gradually gained a foothold in the game, he first occupied the prison and was also the first to complete the establishment of the super-large shelter. Unknowingly, Fang Heng's ambition was also expanding. In the beginning, he only wanted to make a living in the game. Now, Fang Heng's mentality had changed. His goal was to build a formidable shelter in the game and become an overlord on equal footing with the Federation. The Federation was one of his competitors. Fang Heng naturally had no intention of selling materials to his competitors. Unless the price they offered was irresistible. Fang Heng clicked the return button on the web page. He thought that maybe he could take the opportunity to go to the temporary shelter of the Federation tomorrow and find out about the strength of the Federation. There were not many posts about Hope Town after searching. Fang Heng continued to browse through the page. According to the information released by many players, Hope Town was currently filled with zombies. Among them, there were many high-level mutated zombies. Ordinary players couldn't even get close to Hope Town, let alone enter it. The Federation seemed to have some ideas about Hope Town. They had been trying to lure the zombies away from the town in small batches over the past few days. The results were quite good. The density of zombies in the town was much lower than before. Fang Heng browsed through the posts one by one. Recruitment post. Fang Heng narrowed his eyes. Location, Hope Town, recruitment of combat-type explorers. Description, enter Hope Town Hospital to find something. If you are willing, you can contact me for a detailed discussion. The reward will definitely satisfy you. Description, this mission is very difficult. Those who are interested can chat privately. There are still people who want to enter Hope Town Hospital. Fang Heng was on high alert. Could it be that he had received the same mission? Fang Heng rubbed his chin. He saw that the poster, Old Black, was online and tried to send him a message. Fang Heng, I am very interested in the mission you posted. Old Black immediately replied. Old Black, I need you to prove your strength first. Fang Heng, I'm Fang Heng, a former professional player. You can go online and look up my information. Old Black, I'll go look it up. After a while, Old Black sent another message. Old Black, very good. Other than you, there will be some other people participating in the mission tomorrow. If you're interested, you can find me at the Federation's warehouse. We can meet and discuss it in detail. Fang Heng, what's the reward? Old Black, 30 King of Gods points. Fang Heng raised his eyebrows. He had King of Gods points. In the King of Gods game, players could use King of Gods points to exchange for all sorts of high-value rare items in the King of Gods space. Compared to survival points, King of Gods points were more precious and harder to obtain. In addition, King of Gods points could be exchanged for survival points at a ratio of 1 to 100, but survival points could not be exchanged for King of Gods points. Fang Heng replied once more. Fang Heng, I accept the mission. Tomorrow at noon, the Federal Warehouse outside Hope Town. Old Black, I'll wait for you. After flipping through a few more pages of posts, he saw that there was no more useful news related to Hope Town. Fang Heng closed the web page and fell asleep. Early the next morning, Fang Heng rode his motorcycle to the small town. This time, Fang Heng chose to carry out the mission alone. Liao Bufan originally wanted to follow. Considering the danger of this mission and the time it would take, Fang Heng decided to let Liao Bufan stay behind. Liao Bufan had to stay in the prison so that he could be constantly on guard against Prisoner Snake and his gang. 5 hours later, Fang Heng rode his motorcycle to the farm warehouse controlled by the Federation. The warehouse had been transformed into a temporary shelter for the Federation. The posts on the official forum were very appealing. Many players who were nearby were rushing here. Currently, the Federation didn't have any extra food distribution, but who knew when they would start distributing food? After all, with the protection of the Federation, the chances of survival were always higher. When the players saw the motorcycle that Fang Heng rode all the way here, they all cast envious gazes at him. In the early stages, it was truly rare for players to possess such a high-tiered vehicle. Fang Heng put away the vehicle and walked into a large warehouse. The warehouse had already been transformed into a temporary resource point for the Federation. The Federation temporary resource point was mainly responsible for collecting resources from the outside world. They would use Federation coins from the real world to purchase all kinds of materials from the players and continuously send the materials back to the safety center that the Federation was about to establish. Fang Heng was certain that there must be a medium-sized shelter built by the Federation under the warehouse. There were many players in the warehouse and they all maintained good order. The Federation staff had staff passes hanging in front of their chest, making it easy to identify them. Fang Heng immediately saw the big signboard in a conspicuous place. Collect all kinds of basic materials. The price is good. Get paid within seconds. There were several service counters at the entrance of the warehouse, providing services such as material acquisition, consultation services, survival guides and so on. Fang Heng walked to a counter. "Hello, how can I help you? I'd like to take a look at the acquisition list." Fang Heng received the acquisition list from the Federation staff member. The list was densely packed with items. At this stage, the Federation almost wanted everything. Basic resources like a piece of wood could be sold for 30 Federation coins. In Sucheng, 30 Federation coins were about the price of a normal takeout. The new server is profitable. Fang Heng sighed in his heart and immediately felt a heavy pressure. After all, it was the Federation and they had a huge amount of money. With this kind of collecting method, they could quickly build a powerful shelter. Fang Heng put down the acquisition list in his hand and scanned the warehouse a few more times. Soon, he saw the target. A skinny old man was sitting on a bench with two black-skinned foreigners standing beside him. Another man and a woman were sitting on the bench beside him. The skinny old man also noticed Fang Heng and raised his hand at him. Fang Heng walked toward these people. "You are Old Black." "Yes, it's me." "You are Fang Heng, right? I've seen your photo." Old Black's face was full of wrinkles, and he was extremely thin and small. "Looks like everyone is here. This is the Fang Heng I was telling you about just now." Old Black turned his neck around, making creaking sounds. "Fang Heng, let me introduce you. This is Hao Zhou, the leader of this mission." "Hello, I'm Hao Zhou." Hao Zhou had a strong figure and looked sturdy. He wore thin long sleeves and one could see the thick muscles under his clothes. "These two are Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta, and this is Sisterly." Fang Heng looked at these people. Sisterly was tall and slender, about 30 years old, and she was dressed rather well. Kuan Ta and Kuan Ba were both foreigners, and they were also tall and thin. Their cheekbones were high and bulging, and their hands were wrapped in white bandages. "Let's talk somewhere else." Old Black led everyone out of the warehouse and came to a tree not far away from the crowd. "This mission is very difficult. I need everyone to help me enter the community hospital in the town and find the backup generator set on the first floor of the hospital. Then, I'll blow up the generator set completely." Old Black took out 3 explosive packs from his pocket and handed them to Hao Zhou. Item: small explosive pack. Type: consumable. Description: a powerful explosion will occur 5 minutes after the scheduled time. It will cause a lot of damage to the creatures and buildings in the area. Please use it carefully. Remember to turn on the video when you arrive at the room of the backup generator set. Record the entire process of the explosion. This will act as the evidence that you have completed the mission. Fang Heng felt puzzled. Did he want to blow up the backup generator set in the hospital? And what was the reason? Before coming here, Fang Heng thought that Old Black was here to find the T-virus serum just like him. Now, it seemed that Old Black had another purpose. Sisterly asked, "Aren't you coming with us?" He, I'm old. I don't want to trouble you all. The whole town is full of zombies now. If we go together, I'll only be a burden to you all." Fang Heng curled his lips. He always felt that the old man's eyes were a little gloomy. He felt very uncomfortable. Fang Heng didn't know whether it was because of his perceptive ability or because he didn't have a good impression of Old Black. "That's the general situation. I need you to finish the mission before dark today." Hao Zhou put away the explosives and asked, "When is the payment?" What should we do if we can't contact you after finishing the mission? There's no problem with that. I can advance the reward to the Federation so that the Federation can notarize the commission. When the time comes, even if I'm not around, you can use the video recording to directly receive the reward from the Federation notary. Old Black had already prepared his answer. He looked at everyone. Any other questions? Everyone shook their heads. I have no more questions. Fang Heng shook his head as well. As planned, he decided to follow these people into the town to check out the situation. The town was full of zombies now. It would be very troublesome for Fang Heng to enter the town by himself. Unless he was given enough time. In that case, he could rely on his zombie clones to slowly clean up the town without anyone disturbing him. But even so, he still had to be on guard against the mutated zombies in the town. Going in with this group of people was the most efficient plan. As for whether they could complete Old Black's mission was another issue. To complete this mission successfully, I proposed that Hao Zhou be the leader of this mission. Old Black paused and explained to the others. Hao Zhou used to be the commander of the squadron in District 6 of the Federation. He had carried out many missions and served as the team leader many times. He's a veteran in this field. Fang Heng's gaze shifted to Hao Zhou. Hao Zhou took half a step forward. My name is Hao Zhou. I once served in the Federation Squadron and was the commander of the Federation Squadron. I'm proficient in all kinds of firearms. My talent is mental shock, an A+ talent. It can cause mental shock on the enemy, but the side effects are very huge. It cannot be used multiple times in a short period. 2 years ago, my right leg was injured in a mission and had to be amputated. After that, I changed to a mechanical prosthetic limb during the Wasteland Apocalypse game. The prosthetic limb has a huge limitation, so I can't return to the squadron. I'm also unwilling to accept a civilian job provided by the Federation, so I eventually left the Federation. Now I'm a professional mercenary. I'll be the commander for this mission. If anyone doesn't approve of me, you can bring it up now. He seems quite professional. Fang Heng muttered to himself. Seeing that no one raised any objections, Hao Zhou continued, all right, I hope that we can cooperate with utmost sincerity in the next operation, complete the mission successfully, collect the reward and then go our separate ways. To have an effective collaboration, I now invite everyone to introduce their talents and abilities. Everyone looked at each other. I'll go first. Sisterly said, I have an S-rank support type talent. I can create a perception barrier with a maximum radius of 5 meters. The barrier can block the perception of external creatures towards everything within the barrier. Under the barrier, even if the zombies see us, they won't think that we're living humans and attack us. Sorry to interrupt, Hao Zhou asked, including the mutated zombies. Yes, the barrier is still effective against the level 1 mutated zombies. As for the higher level mutated zombies, we haven't had the chance to test them yet, so we can't be sure for now. Hao Zhou nodded, indicating that he understood. It was Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta's turn. The older brother, Kuan Ba, spoke in slightly stiff Chinese. The two of us have been practicing boxing since we were young. After we entered the game, we also obtained skills related to boxing mastery. We can increase the power of our boxing for a period. It's very effective against ordinary zombies. As he spoke, Kuan Ba threw a punch at the big tree beside him. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. The big tree swayed and more than 10 leaves fell to the ground. A deep fist mark was left on the tree. After equipping the iron gauntlets, the power can increase further. Hao Zhou looked at Fang Heng. It's your turn. Fang Heng pondered for a moment. The people in the team were all capable, so he needed to show off his skills. Fang Heng took out the butcher's machete from his backpack. Everyone looked at Fang Heng silently. They could tell that this machete was very heavy. I won't go into detail about my talent. It's a support type, so I can't use it in combat. As for combat, my character's attributes are relatively high, and my equipment is also pretty good. The few of them fell into silence. Good equipment. Character's attributes were relatively high. What kind of self-introduction was this? Why did it sound like he was bragging? Fang Heng saw everyone's doubtful gaze and could not help but raise his machete and wave it in the air a few times. Then, he displayed the butcher's machete's attributes to everyone. You guys can take a look at the attributes. It was a piece of fine-grade equipment. What a high damage rate. The additional skills could also be considered perfect. Only the equipment requirement became the greatest flaw of this weapon. There was a sudden change in the way they looked at Fang Heng. The value of this machete itself was quite high. It was sold for at least 5,000 survival points. In other words, he was not boasting when he claimed that he had better equipment. Moreover, equipping the machete required 9.5 strength and 8.5 physique. Since he could be equipped with this machete, it meant that his attributes were indeed much higher than ordinary players. What level was he at? His character's attributes had already met the equipment requirements for the machete. From this, it could be deduced that his talent attribute should be some sort of attribute enhancement. No one said a word as they secretly speculated in their minds. Hao Zhou began to estimate the overall strength of the team in his heart. At first glance, Fang Heng and the Kuan brothers were the main force, specializing in combat. Sisterly, on the other hand, favored logistical support. If there are no problems, we can ask the Federation to notarize it now. After everyone finished discussing, Old Black brought everyone back to the warehouse. He spent 500 survival points to complete the notarization at the Federation notary, and he even transferred 150 King of Gods points to the Federation notary in advance. At that time, Fang Heng could directly look for the federal staff to collect the mission reward after completing the mission. I wish you good luck. I'll wait here for your safe return. After the preparations were completed, Hao Zhou led the team to a small hill on the east side of Hope Town. From here, they could see a large group of zombies gathered in the town from afar. The density of zombies was very high. Hao Zhou spread out the map that he had prepared beforehand. I've conducted a check beforehand. The number of zombies from the east side is the least. After the invasion of the town, we can reach the community hospital after turning 7 blocks. Sisterly frowned and asked, based on the jogging speed of ordinary people, how long will it take to reach the hospital? Hao Zhou estimated in his heart for a moment and replied, about less than 10 minutes. Releasing the barrier will consume my mental strength. With my current ability, I can only maintain it for 10 minutes at most. After that, I need at least 2 hours to fully recover my mental strength. Kuan Ba urged, the time is just right. Let's do it. No, we won't make it in time. We'll also have to take into account the time when we break into the hospital. Along the way, we might have to deal with mutated zombies and we still need to clean up the zombies blocking the road. All of the above will waste time. Fang Heng took a bite of the Oreo biscuit in his hand and listened to the discussion without saying anything. A moment later, Hao Zhou, the leader of the team, made a corresponding plan. He used the small explosives he had obtained earlier to blow up the stone statue of the mayor at the entrance of the town not far away. The collapsed stone statue would hit the building next to it. At that time, the explosion and impact would create loud noises. The noise would draw the zombies away, reducing the number of zombies gathered at the east entrance of the town. Then, they would force their way in. They would try their best to gain 3 to 4 minutes before Sisterly activated her perception barrier. After confirming everything, it's time to execute the plan. 10 minutes later. Boom. The preset explosives exploded. The fallen stone statue hit the building and created a huge noise. Not far from the entrance of the town, Fang Heng was using a whetstone to increase the attack power of his weapon. He vaguely felt the earth under his feet tremble slightly. It's a little exaggerated. The other members of the team had the same expression. Hao Zhou smiled proudly. I forgot to mention when I introduced myself. I was in the demolition team when I served in the army. Big brother, you're really something. The loud noise attracted the zombies in the town, and they began to move toward the stone statue. Let's go. While the zombies in the town were distracted, the 5 of them gathered and quickly rushed into the town. Smelling the scent of humans, the remaining zombies in the town swarmed toward Fang Heng and the others. Fortunately, the zombies moved slower during the day. The group jogged all the way. Hao Zhou led the way, trying his best to avoid the zombies' encirclement. He would only counterattack when there was no way to escape. After equipping the gauntlets, the strength of the 2 brothers, Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta, increased again. The 2 of them guarded the flanks and could easily kill the zombies with just 2 or 3 punches. Fang Heng was guarding the back of the group, holding a machete in his hand. Chi. A head-on attack. Blood splattered and the zombie charging at them from the right was cut into two halves by the machete. Hint, your attack has caused dismemberment effect. Hint, you have killed a zombie. You have gained 2 survival points. Hint, your attack has caused dismemberment effect. Hint, you have killed a zombie. You have gained 2 survival points. Hint, your attack has caused dismemberment effect. Hint, you have killed a zombie. You have gained. The machete itself has high damage, and there was added damage from the skill as well as the extra attack from the whetstone. 1 slash could easily kill a zombie. The success rate of the dismemberment effect was much higher than Fang Heng had expected, with almost 2/3 of the probability being triggered. In addition, Fang Heng had a perceptive ability that was as high as 15 points, and this was twice as high as an ordinary player. It was enough to predict the enemy's movements. Fang Heng felt like he was playing a lawn mowing game. Although it was exhilarating, the continuous use of the machete also increased the consumption rate of the vitality points. Fang Heng tried to adapt to the attack of the machete and slowed down the pace of his attacks. Hao Zhou led the team across 2 street corners quickly as more and more zombies were gathering toward them. The team was still moving at a high speed, but the pressure on them was increasing and their speed was starting to slow down. Be careful. Hao Zhou suddenly realized that there was a fast-approaching shadow on the right side of his line of sight. Fang Heng also sensed an early warning. He turned his head to look. A mutated zombie suddenly rushed out from the shop on the right side, directly pouncing towards Kuan Ta. Shoo! Kuan Ta threw a punch. The mutated zombie nimbly moved to the side to avoid the punch. It's an agile mutated zombie. Bang! The mutated zombie stomped heavily on the ground and jumped towards Sister Li, who was in the middle of the team. It was extremely fast. While it was still in the air, it had already raised its sharp claws high. Fang Heng's agility attribute was now as high as 9.8, so he could catch the movements of the mutated zombie. Just as he was about to switch to a shotgun to shoot the mutated zombie, Fang Heng suddenly sensed something and turned his head to look at Hao Zhou. The veins on Hao Zhou's neck bulged as he shouted. Bind. Hao Zhou covered his forehead with one hand and pointed at the mutated zombie with the other, his face showing extreme pain. It was a mental shock. It was Hao Zhou's special skill. The mutated zombie in the air instantly stiffened, and it fell from the sky in the same posture as it was about to attack a second ago. Leave it to me. Fang Heng shouted and quickly put the shotgun back into his backpack. He strode forward and swung his machete. The machete slashed forward. Chi. A slash. The mutated zombie's head flew up. Hint, your attack has a dismemberment effect. Hint, you have killed the mutated zombie agility enhancement. You have gained 23 survival points. Fang Heng raised his hand and absorbed a complete evolution crystal left behind by the mutated zombie into his palm. He successfully stole from the zombie. Fang Heng noticed that the others were looking at him, so he put away his machete and said expressionlessly, "It's just SOSO." He killed a mutated zombie in one swift move. This move shocked Fang Heng's teammates. Most of the ordinary players would run as far as they could when they encountered a mutated zombie. Now, this mutated zombie had been killed by Fang Heng in just one move. It was a disgrace to the mutated zombies. However, when they thought of the special attributes of the machete, they acknowledged its power. He was lucky to trigger the dismemberment effect to create such a terrifying effect from the instant kill. The appearance of the mutated zombies made the team more careful. However, as they gradually entered the town, more and more zombies surrounded them. The team seemed to have gradually fallen into a stalemate, and their speed became slower and slower. Amidst the chaotic battle, Kuan Ta kicked the attacking zombie on the right. According to his plan, this kick would be able to repel the zombie, and then he would use his punch to blow its heads off. However, Kuan Ta didn't expect that this kick of his felt like a kick on an iron plate. The zombie didn't retreat. Instead, it violently rebounded and its body started swaying backwards involuntarily. That was bad. It's a mutated zombie. It was a mutated zombie that enhanced power direction. Kuan Ta broke out in cold sweat and quickly adjusted his body's balance. He did a quick mental calculation on how to deal with the situation in front of him. He was going to suffer. Seeing the mutated zombie's claw coming at him, Kuan-ta was suddenly pulled to the side by a hand. "Let me do it." Fang Heng keenly sensed the mutated zombie mixed in with the ordinary zombies. He pulled Kuan-ta away and directly switched to the shotgun. Boom. A gunshot was heard. The mutated zombie was hit by the shotgun at close range. Its body swayed and it took a few steps back. After the hit, the zombie had a double negative status of stiffness and bleeding. "Wow, it's quite hard." Fang Heng raised the shotgun with one hand, completely ignoring the powerful recoil of the shotgun. He took another step forward. He pulled the trigger. Boom. The mutated zombie was blown away and exploded into bloody pieces. Hint: you used the shotgun to kill the mutated zombie. Strength enhancement. You have gained gun mastery experience points plus 30. You have gained 29 survival points. The gunshots attracted everyone's attention. Everyone subconsciously turned to look at the big killer weapon in Fang Heng's hand. Shotgun. It really was a shotgun. Envious. Envious. He actually had a shotgun, a luxury item that only appeared in the middle and later stages of the game. After all this time, he was actually a rich player. Now they knew that Fang Heng was being modest when he said that his equipment was not bad. How long had it been since the game started? Was it possible to find a second shotgun from a survivor? No way. Quick. Don't just stand there. Haozhou shouted to get everyone's attention. The gunshots attracted more zombies nearby. For a moment, the team realized that they were surrounded by zombies. Seeing that the road ahead was almost blocked by zombies, Haozhou shouted, "Sisterly, open the barrier." Buzz. A pale white barrier appeared and covered the players. In an instant, the zombies outside the white barrier quietened down. They were not able to sense Fang Heng and the others, so they had no way to attack and quietly stayed where they were. They quickly cleaned up the remaining zombies inside the barrier. Kuan-ta came up to thank them. "Thank you, Fang Heng. If it weren't for you, I would have been in trouble." "You're welcome. We're teammates. It's our duty." Haozhou quickly identified the location of the community hospital, then waved his hand and said, "Let's go. Over there, follow us." The perceptive protection barrier was activated as Sisterly moved. They only needed to get rid of the zombies inside the barrier. With the help of Sisterly's barrier, the team's speed increased once again. Only a talent like Sisterly was worthy of being in S rank. Fang Heng was secretly praising her in his heart. He raised his machete and followed the team to continue killing zombies. In less than 5 minutes, the group arrived in front of the community hospital. The windows of the entire community hospital had been nailed shut by wooden planks. Iron gates had been lowered outside the glass doors of the entrance, and several layers of wooden planks had been reinforced. For a time, the crowd actually couldn't find the entrance to the community hospital. Kuan-ba and Kuan-ta both looked at Haozhou at the same time, seeking his opinion. Haozhou also didn't expect that all the doors of the hospital had been sealed shut, and his brows were tightly furrowed. "I'll do it. Follow me." Fang Heng saw that Haozhou was still hesitating, so he called out to the team and quickly walked to a window on the first floor that had been sealed shut with wooden planks. He raised his shotgun and pulled the trigger. Boom. 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 He used brute force to break in. With 3 shots, the wooden planks and glass on the outer layer of the window were shattered, revealing an entrance. God. Tycoon. An ordinary bullet from a shotgun would be sold for 100 survival points in the Apocalypse merchant camp. With these 3 shots, 300 survival points would be gone. Everyone had a clearer evaluation of Fang Heng's so-called better equipment, and at the same time, they silently gave him a thumbs up in their hearts. In the Apocalypse, it was really lucky to meet a teammate like Fang Heng. Fang Heng had already upgraded the Apocalypse merchant to an extremely high level. Therefore, he had the highest discount. He only needed 31 survival points to buy a shotgun bullet. Quick! The crowd filed and climbed through the window and sneaked into the hospital. As soon as they stepped into the hospital, Fang Heng immediately turned on his portable flashlight and quickly illuminated every corner of the room. This was a normal examination room. Kuan-ba and Kuan-ta quickly cleaned up the remaining zombies in the room, then opened the door and entered the corridor outside the examination room to clean up the zombies in the corridor. Hao Zhou took out a wooden plank, resealed and reinforced the window entrance that was destroyed when the team had broken in. After a moment, Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta cleaned up the corridor outside the room and returned. "We have confirmed that it's safe." Sister Li immediately deactivated the barrier. She took out a can of Red Bull drink from her backpack to speed up the recovery of her mental strength and gulped it down. The consumption of mental strength is less than expected. It will take about 1.5 hours to fully recover mental strength. Hao Zhou nodded. "Okay, everyone, let's take a rest first." They successfully entered the community hospital. The first phase of the mission had been completed. Overall, they managed to enter the hospital unscathed. Hao Zhou locked the door of the examination room and raised his hand to light a bonfire. Everyone sat around the bonfire and started eating to replenish the energy that was depleted earlier on. Under such circumstances, Fang Heng still tried to be steady. He didn't choose to show off his speciality, which was barbecue. After all, there was a chance that zombies could smell the scent and track them. There was no need to invite trouble to himself. He still had the half-pack of Oreo cookies left from before, along with chocolate milk. Fang Heng ate while thinking about what to do next. What the team needed to do next was to find the backup generator set on the first floor and blow it up. Of course, he had more important things to do. Fang Heng took another look at the mission description. Mission name: find the T-virus serum. Mission description: find the T-virus serum and hand it over to Apocalypse Merchant Vettel. You can find the T-virus serum in the director's office on the 3rd floor of the community hospital in Hope Town, where you can find the T-virus serum in other ways. Hint: as time passes, the antivirus serum in Hope Town may be taken away or destroyed by the survivors in advance. The T-virus serum was hidden on the 3rd floor. He had to go to the 3rd floor to take a look first. Considering that blowing up the generator set would cause noise and attract zombies, Hao Zhou would probably choose to blow up the generator set after Sister Li had fully recovered. Therefore, he still had 1.5 hours of free time. While Fang Heng was thinking, he heard Hao Zhou clap his hands. The plan is like this. First, we find the location of the generator set, occupy the room where the generator set is located and ensure the safety of the generator room and the surrounding environment. In 1.5 hours, we will set up the explosives and retreat quickly. Hao Zhou gave a rough outline for the execution of the operation. No one had any objections to it. Only Fang Heng had another motive. He still wanted to go to the 3rd floor to complete the mission. Don't you think this mission is a little strange? When they heard this, they all looked up at Fang Heng at the same time. Especially Old Black. He's also very strange. As Fang Heng spoke, he stood up and walked to the entrance of the room. He tried to press the light switch in the room. The backup power supply here is also not effective. Why do we need to waste so much effort to blow up the generator set? Hao Zhou and the others fell silent for a moment. They also had doubts about this mission. But this was the mission provided by the employer. They didn't ask the employer the reason for the mission. They only cared about what they could get after the mission is completed. This was the professional ethics of a mercenary. Hao Zhou pondered for a moment and said, "It's indeed a little strange, but it has nothing to do with us. We just need to complete the mission." "You're right, but I have a bad feeling about it." Fang Heng shrugged and said, "I'll go around again later to clear out some possible dangers. You guys follow the plan. I'll go back to the generator room to look for you all once I am done." Hao Zhou frowned. It was a big taboo to split up. But on second thought, the risk that Fang Heng mentioned did exist. He didn't trust this mission and vaguely felt that it was a little strange. The most important thing was, Fang Heng had shown his strength and proved himself during this mission. He already had a say in the team. Moreover, with Fang Heng's strength, even if he encountered mutated zombies, he could still protect himself. "I don't support your actions, but if you insist, I won't stop you." After thinking for a while, Hao Zhou agreed to Fang Heng's solo operation. "Be careful. If you still don't come back in an hour and a half, we'll choose to minimize the risk and abandon you for the sake of the mission. We won't take the risk to look for you." Ha ha ha. Fang Heng laughed and patted Hao Zhou's shoulder. "Although it sounds cold, I understand. I'll rush back." "Okay, be careful. Hao Zhou nodded. Add me as a friend. If you encounter any problems, contact me through the emergency communication channel of the survival radio. Okay. Fang Heng quickly added Hao Zhou as a friend and left the examination room. The community hospital was very big. Fang Heng pulled out his machete and carefully searched the stairway leading to the second floor. He looked at the resurrection time of the zombie clones. It was really unfortunate. There was only 1 hour and 40 minutes left. At that time, his zombie clones would automatically resurrect in the surroundings. He couldn't stop it. If everything went smoothly, he would be running away from Hope Town at that time. It would be great if the resurrection time of the zombie clones could be controlled. Fang Heng muttered in a low voice, then suddenly stopped. The danger perception skill was activated again. He sensed a slight danger coming from the corner. It was a zombie. Chi. He raised his hand and slashed. The zombie hiding in the corner had its neck cut off by Fang Heng. Its head was cut off, and it flew up. It landed on the ground with a thud. Fang Heng walked around the corner and saw the stairway. He went straight to the 3rd floor. He cleaned up all the zombies along the way. At the same time, he looked at the words on the door plate. Storage room. Lounge. Living room. Clothes room. Dean's room. Found it. Fang Heng tried to push the door. The door was locked. Click. Fang Heng took out a shotgun, pulled the bolt and aimed at the door lock. Bang. A gunshot was heard, and a big hole was created in the door lock by the shotgun. Woo. Hearing the gunshot, the zombies in the dean's office immediately surrounded Fang Heng. Fang Heng pushed the wooden door open with a loud bang and used his machete to slash the zombies. Chi. Chi. Hint, your attack has caused the dismemberment effect. Hint, you have killed a zombie. You have gained 2 survival points. Hint, your attack has caused the dismemberment effect. Hint, you have killed a zombie. You have gained 2 survival points. After killing the zombies with 2 slashes, Fang Heng walked into the room. Eh? What's that sound? Before he could explore the dean's office, Fang Heng suddenly heard something. He turned around and took 2 steps back, looking at the end of the corridor. There were 3 short shadows. They were growling threateningly. F*CK, they are zombie dogs. Fang Heng said to himself, this is troublesome. Zombie dogs and spider zombies were both famous for their speed and were very difficult to deal with. The zombie dogs were even faster than the spider zombies. Roar. The 3 zombie dogs were attracted by Fang Heng's gunshots. They increased their speed and rushed toward Fang Heng. Bang. Fang Heng hurriedly hid in the dean's office and closed the door. Then, he moved a cabinet to block the wooden door. They were coming. Dong. Dong dong. Fang Heng heard the sound of the 3 zombie dogs hitting the door with their bodies. The broken wooden door wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Fang Heng sneered and extended the muzzle of the shotgun out of the hole made by the shotgun. Boom. 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 After a few shots, there was no more movement outside. Hint, you have used a shotgun to kill a zombie dog *3. You have gained 15 survival points. Your gun mastery experience plus 21. Troublesome zombie dogs. After confirming that the zombie dogs had died via the game log, Fang Heng muttered and pushed the door open again. Zombie dogs had the advantage of explosive speed and fast dodging. They were not high-level zombies and their HP was even lower than ordinary zombies. Therefore, they would not drop the complete evolution crystals after they died. Fang Heng ran out of the door again and killed the ordinary zombies that were attracted by the gunshots. He turned back to the dean's office and began to search wantonly. Hint, you found a pack of cigarettes *2, premium coffee beans *10, a tattered shirt *1, the dean's magnetic card *1, milk *2, chocolate *3, first aid spray *1. After searching the room carefully, Fang Heng did not find any traces of the T-virus serum. Instead, he found some more useful survival materials. For example, first aid spray, an item that could greatly restore health points, was extremely rare. Cigarettes were also good items that could increase the favorability rating of NPCs in the game. However, he could not find the T-virus serum. Strange, where could it be hidden? Fang Heng narrowed his eyes and looked around the entire room again. He had searched very carefully before. Could it be a picture frame? Fang Heng's gaze focused on a photo on the wall. It was often played like this in movies. He remembered that there were similar posts in the forum before. There were hidden safes in some rooms. One of the hiding places was behind the picture frame. Fang Heng walked to the picture frame where the dean's photo was hanging and moved the picture frame away. Sure enough, a metal safe appeared behind the picture frame. This is bad, I don't know the password. Fang Heng tried to hit the safe with the stone hammer. Dong. A muffled sound was heard. Hint, you have dealt damage to the metal safe +7. A long health bar appeared in Fang Heng's eyes. The safe had a durability of 20,000. Even if he used the shotgun and the zombie clones to scrape the safe, it would take an entire day for him to break it open. Only by finding the password could he quickly open the safe. Come to think again, normal players don't have shotguns and zombie clones like me. It's impossible to crack open the safe. The game doesn't set certain death quests. There should be a hint. Fang Heng calmed down and thought about it. He looked for any books that might be in the room. There weren't any. Then he could only try his luck. 1 2 3 4 5. Error. 1024. Error. Dark Knights. Error. Veron, Dean's name. Error. T-virus. Error. Fang Heng scratched his head. What could it be? Could it be that the hint wasn't here? More than 10 minutes had passed but Fang Heng still found nothing. He calmed down, walked to the center of the room and looked around again. That's right. Fang Heng thought of something. A computer. There was a desktop computer on the dean's office desk. There might be relevant information about the password in it. But without a power source, the computer could not be turned on at the moment. Power source. Generator set. God. It was connected. Fang Heng narrowed his eyes and rubbed his chin, thinking. It was very likely that this mission required him to turn on the generator before he could turn on the computer. Then, he could use the computer to get the password to the safe. Then, the next mission should be to find a way to repair the generator and make it generate electricity again. As for why Old Black wanted to destroy the generator set. Perhaps he did not want others to complete the Dark Knight's mission. Fang Heng felt that he was most likely right. He was about to return to the basement when he saw the game log light up. Hint, your survival radio has received an emergency message. Ah. Fang Heng stopped and turned on the survival radio to check. Haozhou, Fang Heng, how are things over there? I've found the location of the generator set and also found something. Haozhou also found the problem with the generator. He immediately replied to Haozhou. Fang Heng, I'll be right back. He rushed back to the generator room on the first floor. Haozhou and the others were studying something in front of the generator set. What did you find? Fang Heng, you came back just in time. Come and have a look. We found that the generator set is running. Ah. What did you say? Fang Heng was stunned. The generator unit was running. He was just thinking about how to persuade Haozhou to try to turn on the generator set. Now Haozhou told him that the generator set was running. This was completely inconsistent with his previous guess. Fang Heng was a little confused for a moment. He tried to clear his mind and asked, you mean the generator set is in good condition? It's still running. Then why isn't the building providing power? Kuan Ta, who was studying the circuit at the back, poked his head out and explained to Fang Heng. I just studied the generator set and found that the generator set here doesn't provide power to the main building. Fang Heng was stunned again and was even more surprised. He asked, it's not the main building. Then where is it? I'm not sure. The circuit operation seems to lead to the bottom. The bottom. Haozhou also frowned. He picked up the map of the hospital that he had just found and looked at it carefully. There's only the morgue underground. Morgue? The members of the team all had strange expressions on their faces. Why did a proper apocalypse survival game suddenly become a little scary? Fang Heng was also puzzled. What was the rationale behind the hospital's backup generator set made to ensure the power supply of the morgue in the first place? To prevent zombies. But could ensuring the power supply help to prevent zombies? Fang Heng raised his head and asked, Kuan Ta, do you have a way to change the circuit, such as providing power from the generator set to the building? I can try, but my skill level is too low. It will take at least 3 hours to do so. Alright. It seemed that the previous guess was probably wrong. Fang Heng ruled out a wrong answer. Have you asked Old Black? What did he say? Sisterly shook her head. I asked him just now, but Old Black hasn't replied yet. Kuan Ba, who had been silent all this time, said, or maybe he doesn't want to reply. Everyone fell silent again. Hao Zhou clapped his hands to attract everyone's attention. Cheer up. Everyone might have some doubts about this mission. To be honest, I'm the same. But if we think about it carefully, it doesn't make any difference to us whether the generator is on or not. We are mercenaries, and our first goal is to complete the mission. In short, we will start preparing to retreat in 50 minutes. No one raised any objections. Hao Zhou's words were also correct. After all, Old Black only said that they needed to blow up the generator. He did not say whether the generator was on or off. Fang Heng felt that Old Black's mission was related to the T-virus serum mission that he had on hand. It was necessary to go to the underground floor to take a look. There's still some time. I want to go down and take a look. Does anyone want to go with me? The team members looked at each other again. No one responded. Hao Zhou advised, Fang Heng, there's no need for that. We just need to blow up the generator set to complete the mission. Don't create unnecessary complications. I'll go alone. I'll try my best to rush back in 50 minutes. It'll be the same as before. If I don't make it back, don't bother about me. Wait a minute. I'll go with you. It's safer with more people. Kuan Ba stood up. Thank you for saving my brother not long ago. We brothers don't like to owe others favors. Okay. It was safer to have more people around. Fang Heng agreed immediately and left the generator room with Kuan Ba to the underground morgue. I also feel that this mission is strange. On the pathway to the first underground floor, Kuan Ba broke the silence and handed Fang Heng a piece of A4 paper. I found this when I was searching just now. It was pasted on the cabinet in the maintenance room. Fang Heng took the note and read it. Job tips, all maintenance staff to take note. Given the recent repeated incidents, please ensure that the air conditioning in the underground morgue is turned on 24 hours a day and set up a 24-hour rotation inspection team. Remarks, the temperature in the morgue must be below 0 degrees Celsius, and the temperature in the freezer must be below -28 degrees Celsius. Fang Heng read the contents of the A4 paper and muttered softly. Just looking at the content, there doesn't seem to be a problem. Yeah. Kuan Ba nodded as well. There's only this note in the room and I don't know what repeated incidents mean. The entrance to the first underground floor was next to the pathway elevator. Due to the loss of the power supply, the elevator had already lost its effectiveness. The two of them took care of a few zombies blocking the way and entered the first underground floor. On the left side of the first underground floor, there was a passage leading to the morgue. On the right side, there was a direction leading to the underground parking lot. The iron gate leading to the parking lot had fallen, completely blocking the way. Fang Heng and Kuan Ba exchanged looks and walked into the passage together. The morgue was at the end of the passage. The sign for the emergency passage above the door was still lit. Sure enough, the backup generator provided power to the morgue. What is this? Walking to the door of the morgue, Fang Heng noticed that there was a note on the door of the morgue. Emergency notice, due to frequent problems in the morgue, the use of the morgue has been temporarily suspended and it is under an emergency maintenance state. During the maintenance period, the warehouse on the second floor of the hospital will be temporarily used as a backup facility. Under normal circumstances, the corpses will be sent directly to the funeral parlor. Fang Heng scratched his head. Frequent problems in the morgue. He felt that he had vaguely caught something, and for a moment, he did not quite understand. Fang Heng turned his head to look at Kuan Ba. The latter had the same blank expression on his face. Kuenba suggested in a low voice, "Shall we go in and take a look first?" "Yes." Fang Heng approached the door and leaned over, trying to listen to the movements inside the morgue. The inside of the morgue was abnormally quiet. Fang Heng tried to push the door open again. It could not be opened. There was a card slot that could be inserted into the wall on the right side of the morgue. Fang Heng thought of the magnetic card that he had just found in the dean's office. Item: Dean's magnetic card. Type: miscellaneous. Description: the magnetic card of the Dean of Hopetown Community Hospital. On the front, there is the Dean's photo. You can decompose it into waste plastic. Fang Heng tried to insert the magnetic card into the card slot. Beep. Verification passed. Welcome, Dean Verone. Click. The door of the morgue automatically opened in front of Fang Heng. A gust of cold air blew in from the morgue. The temperature of the air conditioning in the morgue was very low, and the dim lights were still on. Fang Heng stood at the door with a shotgun in one hand, trying to get a clear view of the situation inside the morgue. The morgue was in a mess, with bloodstains all over the place. At a glance, more than 10 corpses were lying on the ground. They were all dead. Fang Heng lowered his head and looked at the 2 corpses near the door. The parts above their necks were gone, and their necks were badly mutilated. Were their heads shot because of the zombie transformation? The way they handled it was quite professional. Fang Heng pursed his lips. He and Kuenba carefully walked into the room and searched carefully. "Fang Heng, all the zombies here have no heads. It seems that they were cleaned up in advance." Kuenba also noticed the abnormality of the corpses. He squatted down to examine it carefully. What's wrong? It's very strange. The wound on the neck of the body is quite strange. It doesn't feel like it was cut off by someone, nor did it look like it was blown open by a gun. A puzzled look appeared on Kuenba's face. It's more like it exploded from the inside out. What? You're saying that he blew himself up? Fang Heng frowned. Before he had time to search further, his heart suddenly jumped. He felt an extremely dangerous feeling and quickly turned his head. His gaze focused on an iron door on the side of the morgue. The danger perception skill had been activated. Fang Heng immediately raised his shotgun and aimed at the small door, staring at it. What's behind the door? Even when he encountered mutated zombies, Fang Heng had never felt such a strong sense of danger. Kuenba noticed that Fang Heng's expression had become extremely serious, so he immediately stood up and stood beside Fang Heng, putting on a battle stance. He asked in a low voice, "What's wrong, Fang Heng?" "It's a skill of mine. I feel that there's something strange behind that door." Fang Heng replied in a low voice. "Pa." There was an extremely weak sound. The lights above the 2 of them were instantly extinguished. The entire morgue instantly became extremely dark. A power failure. Fang Heng was shocked. He quickly took 2 steps back and took out a flashlight to light up the area in front of him. Kuenba also took out a flashlight to illuminate the surroundings. There was nothing unusual in the morgue. Then why did the power suddenly go out? Was it because of his sudden intrusion? Fang Heng turned on the survival radio to contact Hao Zhou. "Fang Heng, I suddenly lost power here. What's the situation over there?" "Hao Zhou, everything is normal." Kuenta learned electronic equipment manufacturing skills. He just tried to remove some useful props from the generator set. After he removed them, the generator set stopped working. It was a false alarm. The power was cut off on their side. Fang Heng heaved a sigh of relief and gestured at the iron door with his chin. "I'll go and see what's inside that door. You'll support me from behind." "Okay." Kuenba nodded to show that he understood. Fang Heng walked in front and carefully walked to the iron door. Who cares what's inside? When the time comes, I'll directly blast it out with a shotgun. Fang Heng thought. Due to the power failure, the original electronic lock on the iron door had lost its effect. Fang Heng twisted the door handle and the door was easily pushed open. So cold. A gust of cold air hit Fang Heng and he couldn't help but shiver. The temperature of the air conditioner here was so low. Fang Heng felt as if he had entered into cold storage. The room was pitch black and Fang Heng shone his flashlight into the room. The light that illuminated from the flashlight was blocked by the green plants in front of him, which made it impossible for Fang Heng to see the entire room. Fang Heng could feel that the room was very large, and at first glance, it looked like a large laboratory. But what was going on with these green plants? Their growth was too good. The lush leaves almost blocked the path ahead. Fang Heng, these plants aren't right. Be careful. Kuan Ba stood guard at the door. He used a flashlight to light up the room. Okay. Fang Heng nodded and walked 2 steps into the room. He also sensed it. He sensed danger from these plants. Fang Heng didn't dare to get too close. He stopped more than 10 meters away from the plants and started searching on the experiment table. There was a notebook on the experiment table. Experiment Team's Notebook, Team Leader, Shui Jibin. Found it. Fang Heng immediately picked up the notebook and began to read it. 12.12. The impact of the government's intervention was greater than expected. On the surface, the company was heavily fined, and all research projects on the T-virus were completely stalled. The government seized and emptied all relevant research data. But in fact, they had no real data at all. We had collected a lot of raw data from the biochemical crisis virus outbreak in City S 3 years ago. Our research on the T-virus was much deeper than they had imagined. The supervisor told me clearly that the experiment would continue. 2.10. I was assigned by the company to lead the team to Hopetown Community Hospital to continue the research on the new mutation virus. The dean of the community hospital was one of our sponsors. He had been secretly supporting our research. As early as 3 years ago when the virus project began, Hopetown Community Hospital had been set up as one of the company's secret research points. The dean would do his best to support our team accordingly. 2.30. The laboratory environment was a little worse than I expected. We had to buy a lot of equipment, and some special equipment had to be customized from the company and shipped over. The hospital morgue was very good, and there was an endless supply of corpses for us to do physical research. The dean would help us get rid of all the trouble, and we just needed to focus on the research. We appreciate the dean's support of our company. 3.13. 1. Using the T-virus to infect normal plants, resulting in mutated life forms. In our research, we found that the T-virus and the corpse vine had the best combination. We named the infected plant corpse vine. 2. Corpse vines were different from ordinary plants. They had strong vitality and showed extremely strong offensive ability. 3. Corpse vines could not move. It seemed to have some basic hypersensitivity. The vines could shrink a distance in a very short time. 3.17. 1. It was impossible to determine whether the corpse vines can think, feel pain and remember. 2. The research on the corpse vines was temporarily interrupted. The company ordered us to enter the next phase immediately. In the next step, we would try to combine the corpse vine with the corpse. It was said that there was such a phenomenon in the biochemical crisis that broke out in City S 3 years ago. 3.29. 1. The experiment had a breakthrough and the replication was successful. We obtained a life form from the abnormal combination of a mutated plant body and the corpse. The specific operation would be recorded in the experiment notebook. 2. After the corpse was resurrected, it formed a life form that was similar to a zombie. This kind of mutation was different from the intense mutation of animals. It was very difficult to control and their ability to move was extremely slow. 3. A new life form that was half human and half plant. Or did the plant use the corpse as a carrier? 4.5. 1. It was parasitism. We discovered that the corpse vine had completely invaded the brain of the corpse, and within 7 days, it had completely digested the host's head. After that, the corpse vine occupied the magpie's nest, and controlled the corpse to move. The process was very bloody. The head of the corpse would explode on its own, and a plant-like tentacle would grow out of the neck. 2. We needed more samples for testing. 3. To be able to focus on the experiment, the dean agreed to temporarily close the morgue. 4.30. 1. We temporarily called the zombies that were infected by the corpse vine parasites. 2. The corpse vines were sensitive to temperature and light. They did not like being exposed to strong sunlight. However, after observing for a long time, we concluded that even after being exposed to sunlight for a long time, the corpse vines were only dehydrated. 3. When the temperature was below 15 degrees Celsius, the activity of the vine zombies was greatly reduced. 4. When the temperature was below 5 degrees Celsius, the corpse vines would enter a dormant state. There were still a few more pages at the back of the log, and it was not completely over yet. But when he read until this point, Fang Heng suddenly felt a chill on his back. He immediately understood. Oh no. It's the temperature. Everything was related to the temperature. The drop in temperature could cause the corpse vine parasite to enter a dormant state temporarily. No wonder the temperature in the morgue was so low. No wonder the hospital's backup generator set guaranteed the power in the basement first. Fang Heng immediately thought of the corpses lying on the ground in the morgue with their heads blown off. They were not dead. They were just corpse vine parasites that had fallen into hibernation. Now that they had lost the backup power supply, the air conditioning in the morgue was no longer working. In that case, the corpses hidden in the morgue would come back to life. It was dangerous. Quick! Let's leave this place first. Fang Heng shouted and put away the notebook. Then, he turned around and left the room with Kuan Ba. As soon as the two of them returned to the morgue, two zombies slowly got up from the ground and blocked the entrance of the morgue. The temperature at the entrance was the highest. They were the first to exit hibernation. The zombies stuck out a strange, wriggling vine from their broken necks. They intertwined with each other to form a twisted mass. Sizzle sizzle. The headless corpses on the ground began to emit a faint sound. Fang Heng could see tiny vines gradually extending out from the wound on the neck of the corpses. Not only that, the faint sound even came from the rows of refrigerators on the left and right sides. Kuan Ba's scalp went numb. It was the first time he saw such a terrifying scene. He immediately shone his flashlight on the refrigerators on both sides. He was horrified to discover that tiny long strips of objects had been drilled through the gaps of several morgue cabinets. What the hell was that thing? A vine. Fang Heng. Kuan Ba's breathing became heavy. This is troublesome. It's a vine zombie. The scene in front of him overlapped with a special type of zombie that Fang Heng had encountered in his body's memories. This was an extremely rare type of zombie. It belonged to the category of a Tier 2 mutated zombie. It was called a vine zombie by the players. In the memories of this body, the vine zombies moved relatively slowly, but their HP was quite high. They would also use the vines to assist in their attacks. Once the players got close, the vine zombies would extend their branches from their bodies at an extremely fast speed and entangle the players tightly. A nightmare of close combat. The safest way was to rely on long-range methods to kill them. Quick! Follow me. Fang Heng pulled the bolt of his gun and quickly stepped forward. Boom. Boom. 2 shots. The 2 vine zombies blocking the door were each blasted a big hole in their bodies, and their bodies were sent flying backward. They weren't dead. Tiny vine tentacles immediately extended out from the hole to seal the wound. They slowly got up from the ground again. Quick! Before all the vine zombies in the morgue woke up, the 2 of them quickly ran out of the morgue. Fang Heng closed the door of the morgue tightly. However, the power source was no longer working, so the door couldn't be locked. Whatever, as long as possible. Fang Heng took out a few wooden frames from his backpack to block the door of the room. The 2 of them immediately returned to the generator room. In the room, Hao Zhou and the others gathered around to study the materials removed from the generator set. In the zombie apocalypse game, the generator set was of high value, and players could not make it. In the early stages, because the players' levels weren't high enough, Kuan Ta could only remove some useful materials from the generator set, and the quality of the materials would be reduced. Seeing Fang Heng and Kuan Ba running back in a hurry, everyone immediately stood up and were on alert. What's wrong? Quick! Find a way to restore the power in the basement. Kuan Ta was stunned. He subconsciously replied, No, I can't do that. My electronic equipment manufacturing level is very low. If I want to restore it, I need to be at least level 10 or above. Kuan Ba's heart sank when he heard that. Hao Zhou asked, Why the rush? What happened? There are zombies in the basement. While saying that, Kuan Ba turned his eyes to Fang Heng. He had only seen the weird zombies that had revived in the basement, and then he was dragged by Fang Heng to escape. To be honest, he didn't really know what had happened in the basement. The dean of this hospital is doing research on the T-virus in the morgue. It's a kind of zombie by the name of corpse vine parasite. This kind of zombie is sensitive to temperature. It will enter a state of hibernation in a low-temperature environment. Under normal circumstances, researchers will lock a large number of zombies with the corpse vine parasite in the freezer of the underground morgue to hibernate. After the zombie apocalypse, the backup generator set has always maintained the freezing temperature of the basement, and these zombies have also been in a state of hibernation. After the generator set lost its function, the temperature rose and the corpse vine parasite, which was initially in a dormant state, began to wake up. Fang Heng briefly told them what he knew. Hearing that, everyone immediately became nervous. Very few people had heard the name of the corpse vine parasite. What about the strength of the mutated zombie? Fang Heng said in a deep voice, the corpse vine parasite is known as the vine zombie among the players. Its strength is equivalent to a Tier 2 mutated zombie. It has an extremely strong killing ability at close range. If you encounter it, be careful not to get close to it. Everyone's expression changed again. The higher the level of the mutated zombie, the stronger it was. The spider zombie was probably the representative species of the strongest batch of Tier 1 mutated zombies. The corpse vine parasite was more difficult to deal with than the spider zombie. Oh no, how could it be the vine zombie? Haozhou had also heard his comrades mention the vine zombie. His expression was unusually grave. After the power went out, the electronic door of the morgue also failed. These corpse vine parasites will recover soon. They could find us at any time. Haozhou looked at Sister Li and asked, Sister Li, how are you recovering? I haven't fully recovered yet. If I forcefully use the skill now, I can only maintain the barrier for 6 minutes at most. 6 minutes was too short. When they broke into the town, they first lured away most of the zombies, so they could save a lot of time. However, if they escaped, time would be even tighter. That was because the sound of the explosion would attract the zombies, and the danger level would be doubled. There was no time for that in just 6 minutes. We still have time. Maybe the corpse vine parasites will stay in the first underground floor. Haozhou quickly made a decision after thinking for a short while. The corpse vine parasites are slow. Even if they catch up with us, we can just give up the mission and leave. Without the explosion to attract the nearby zombies, the pressure we'll face when we escape will be much less. Hearing that, the team thought for a while and nodded in agreement. Although the mission reward was good, it had to be on the premise of saving their lives. Everyone only had 3 chances to die and be reborn. No one was willing to waste one. After a simple discussion, everyone began to prepare for the next battle. Fang Heng continued to open the experiment notebook that he had just obtained from the research room. 5.2. 1. The parasitic efficiency of the corpse vine parasite was much faster than we had imagined. In order to increase the efficiency, we created a large number of corpse vine parasites. Hiding them in the freezer is a good choice. 2. The experiment had not been carried out yet, but the company wanted us to immediately prepare for the next step of the experiment, trying to integrate with living humans. 3. Well, I needed some healthy living humans for the experiment. The dean will help us think of a way. 5.10. 1. Out of the 27 living humans, only one experiment was successful. His name was Alex. After being infected by the parasite, Alex showed great instability. He was violent and bloodthirsty. He would attack all kinds of creatures. 2. We wanted to find more living humans to experiment on. However, this town was really not big. The accidental disappearances in the town these few days had attracted a small amount of attention. It was necessary to stop for a while. 5.12. 1. The corpse vine had destroyed a large number of cells in the body, and the mutated T-virus was also rapidly repairing the cells. The combination between the vine and a living body was better than expected. 2. The corpse vine was improving Alex's human body structure. He became abnormally strong, and a layer of corpse vine armor began to grow on his skin. 5.17. 1. Alex was more resistant to low temperatures, but he would also enter a dormant state when the temperature was below 17 degrees Celsius. 2. As Alex showed extremely high destructiveness and instability, we temporarily put him into a dormant state to ensure safety. 5.20. 1. The corpse vine parasites were not sensitive to fire, but they were unusually vulnerable to fire damage. 2. It was strange to find that the T-virus serum had an extremely strong lethality against the plant parasites. It could directly kill the parasitic plant zombies, but the rest of the body remained in a survival state. 5.21. 1. If you met with danger, you could activate the emergency refrigeration device, press the red button and quickly reduce the temperature of the morgue environment. In addition, you could also try to kill them by spraying the diluted solution of the T-virus serum with a water pipe. 2. We would request more serum from our superiors for research. Note, there is still the remaining T-virus serum in the safe of the dean's office. Password, Alex. 5.26. 1. The Superior Department was very interested in Alex and wanted to transfer him to the headquarters for observation. 2. To complete the transfer work, we have prepared a special freezer. Put Alex in the freezer temporarily to wait for the transfer. Even after the power failure, the freezer could still guarantee at least 30 hours of freezing time. 3. Next, we would try to study how to further strengthen the corpse vine parasite. Note, received the news, the superiors would help us find some living bodies from prison and send them over to help us with human living experiments. The log stopped at this point. Fang Heng's eyelids twitched and he was overjoyed. Found it. Sure enough, his premonition was right. The T-virus serum mission had something to do with the morgue. The password to the safe was hidden in the notebook. Next, as long as he found the T-virus serum, the mission would be completed. F***ck the corpse vine parasite. What does it have to do with me? Fang Heng was about to run to the dean's office on the 3rd floor to look for the serum when a row of game notifications quickly flashed across his retina. Hint, you have read the experiment team's notebook. Hint, you have accepted the mission find the T-virus serum. Hint, your mission objective has changed. What was the situation? Fang Heng was puzzled and immediately opened the game log to check. Mission name, find the T-virus serum. Difficulty, SSS. Basic mission requirement, find the T-virus serum. Optional mission 1, you have found the description of the corpse vine in the course of the mission. The Dark Knights have been looking for the origin of the apocalypse crisis. You can try to collect the corpse vine sample and give it to Vettel. If you complete this optional mission, your basic mission reward will be increased by 1.5 times. Optional mission 2, if you find a description of the corpse vine parasite during the task, you can try to find a sample of the corpse vine parasite and give it to Vettel. If you complete this optional mission, your basic mission reward will be increased by 2 times. Optional mission 3, if you find a description of Alex during the mission, find Alex's body, or sample, and bring it back to Vettel. If you complete this optional mission, your basic mission reward will be increased by 4 times. Note 1, optional missions can be completed at the same time, the reward can be multiplied. Note 2, if the completion of the mission is more than 100%, you can receive additional rewards in proportion. This is tempting. Fang Heng gritted his teeth. He originally wanted to get the T-virus serum and leave. The basic difficulty of the mission to find the T-virus serum was the highest level of the game, SSS level. The reward was needless to say. Now, with the addition of the side missions, if he could complete them, the reward provided by the missions would be raised to a terrifying level. Fang Heng really wanted the reward, but he had to be alive to receive it. Not to mention the terrifying Tier 2 mutant zombie corpse vine parasite. There was even Alex who had fused with the vine. Fang Heng did not doubt that this so-called Alex was already at Tier 3 or even Tier 4 level. However, the reward was too tempting. After completing all the side missions, he would receive the original reward of 1.5 by 2 by 4, which was 12 times the reward. F***ck. Fang Heng cursed in his heart. In any case, he had to think of a way to get the T-virus serum first. Fang Heng did not delay any longer. He immediately raised his head and said, "Sorry, I found something. I'm going out for a while. I'll be back soon." Without waiting for Hao Zhou and the others to stop him, Fang Heng quickly left the room. Taking advantage of the fact that the corpse vine parasites on the 1st floor had not caught up, Fang Heng carried the machete all the way back to the laboratory on the 3rd floor. He removed the picture frame on the wall and quickly entered the password. Alex. Pa. The safe popped open from the inside. There were 2 potions lying quietly inside. Hint, you have obtained item T-Virus Serum *2. Hint, your mission finding T-Virus Serum basic completion rate, 200%. There was another one. If he double-handed the T-Virus Serum and completed all the optional side missions, his final reward would be a terrifying 24 times. Risk it all. Such an opportunity only came once every 10,000 years, there was no reason to retreat. The risk was there, but the reward for the mission was undoubtedly greater. It was totally worth taking some risks for it. If he gave up on this mission, how could he sleep at night? Fang Heng conveniently kept the 2 serums into his backpack and returned the way he came. At the same time, he began to think about his next move. Now, he should think about how to get the 3 items for the side missions. According to the information he got from the experiment notes, the 3 items for the side mission should be in the research room behind the underground morgue. The safest way should be to find a way to restore the power supply and put the zombies in the morgue into hibernation again. However, it was impossible to do that in a short period of time. So, they had to do it the hard way. The corpse vine parasites had very low resistance to fire. In other words, the focused flamethrower could be very effective against them. However, they had to be extra careful when using the focused flamethrower in this environment. This place was not like the underground passage of the prison. A moment of carelessness could very well lead to a fire. At that time, even the mission items would be burned to the ground. He might even be trapped in the fire and die. So, the safest way was to lure them away from the basement, then capture them all in one fell swoop and get rid of them completely. If I use the explosion. Fang Heng muttered to himself and began to try to construct a preliminary plan in his mind. As for Alex, according to the notes of the experiment, the special freezer could keep the temperature under control for 30 hours. This meant that he needed to solve the problem quickly within 30 hours, otherwise. While thinking, Fang Heng rushed back to the generator room on the first floor. Just as he turned the corner of the corridor, the scene in front of him shocked him. A large number of zombies appeared in the corridor. Hao Zhou and the others retreated while using their bows and arrows to fight back. Where did so many zombies come from? On a closer look, there were even 2 corpse vine parasites, vine zombies, mixed in the zombie crowd. Hao Zhou knew how powerful the vine zombies were. He led his teammates along the passage as they retreated, using long-range bows and arrows to shoot. In addition to the close-range vine attack position, the vine zombies are also extremely powerful in defense. Bows and arrows dealt very limited damage to them, but they could still put them into a stiff state, slowing them down. From time to time, the 2 brothers, Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta, would take the risk to dash forward, blow the heads of ordinary zombies with one punch, and then quickly retreat. The team was in a huge crisis. The vine zombies were coming up from the basement so quickly. Fang Heng cursed in his heart. He quickly took out the focused flamethrower and the fuel bottle in his backpack and quickly connected them. Under normal circumstances, the focused flamethrower was heavy and required 2 people to use it at the same time. Fang Heng's strength and physique were about twice that of an ordinary person, so he could barely use them by himself. Fang Heng adjusted the focused flamethrower's fire valve to the maximum, held the nozzle and shouted, "Get out of the way." Kuan Ta and the others were focused on dealing with the zombies in front. Hearing Fang Heng's shout from behind, they all made way for him. A figure quickly walked past them and rushed toward the zombies in the passage. At that moment, they finally noticed Fang Heng, who was striding forward with a focused flamethrower in his hand. Focus. Focused flamethrower. This. Kuan Ba immediately recognized the deadly weapon in Fang Heng's hand. He has such a top-tier weapon. Kuan Ba knew off his mind that fire damage was most effective against these flammable vine zombies. Fang Heng walked to the front of the team, aimed at the zombies and pulled the trigger. The flamethrower let out a roar. Long strips of pale blue high-temperature flames were shot out from the mouth of the flamethrower. The passage in front of them was instantly covered in flames. The vine zombies were instantly ignited by the high-temperature flames and burned fiercely. The group stood behind Fang Heng and watched as the zombies that were burned by the fire slowly fell to the ground. The vine zombies continued to burn until they were reduced to ashes. Kuan Ta came back to his senses and looked at Fang Heng. The others did the same. Now, they finally understood what Fang Heng meant by good equipment. It turned out that the machete and shotgun were just appetizers. The focused flamethrower was the main course. Good guy. This guy is showing off his wealth. Hint, you have used the focused flamethrower to kill the corpse vine parasite *2. You have obtained 76 survival points. You have obtained weapon mastery plus 61. Hint, your weapon mastery skill level has been upgraded to level 2. Hint, you have collected a sample of the corpse vine parasite *2. Your side mission 2, looking for a sample of the corpse vine parasite, completion rate, 4%. Hint, you have obtained a complete evolution crystal *2. He was too hasty. It turned out that the sample collection described in the side mission was actually through killing. Fang Heng's heart skipped a beat. He raised his head and saw the complicated gazes from Hao Zhou and company. They were relieved, somewhat envious and somewhat speechless. The crisis was not over yet. There was still an endless stream of ordinary zombies coming out of the passage. Fang Heng put away the flamethrower and took out his machete. Go. Hearing that, the two brothers, Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta, followed Fang Heng and fought their way through the passage. After a long time, Fang Heng and the others worked together to clean up the wave of zombies in the passage and arrived at the entrance of the stairs on the first floor. There was also an endless stream of zombies pouring out of the entrance of the stairs downstairs. The group blocked the entrance of the passage and cleared out wave after wave of zombies. From time to time, the zombie crowd was mixed with vine zombies. At this time, Fang Heng would use his focused flamethrower to burn these zombies. After 3 or 4 waves, the number of zombies coming out from the entrance of the passage didn't decrease but increased instead. The group's vitality status dropped rapidly, and Kuan Ba couldn't help but shout. Why is there no end to this group of zombies? The power failure caused the electronic lock at the entrance of the underground parking lot to fail. The zombies probably entered the community hospital through the parking lot. Hao Zhou held the map of the community hospital in his hand and checked the layout, trying to find a solution. We can use manual mode to force the entrance of the parking lot to close again. Kuan Ta punched a zombie's head. Then what are we waiting for? To manually adjust the position of the valve at the entrance of the underground parking lot, we need to go to the basement level 1. Under the current situation, the basement level 1 will be full of zombies. The members of the team fell silent at the same time. Kuan Ba looked at his vitality status that was gradually decreasing, gritted his teeth and said, "Let's go. We won't be able to hold on at this rate." As he said that, he poured a mouthful of honey into his mouth to speed up the recovery of his vitality. All right. It's decided then. Sister Lee is going to activate her perception barrier. In any case, think of a way to close the entrance first and then think of a way later. Wait a minute. Everyone was about to move when Fang Heng suddenly spoke up to stop them. He looked at Hao Zhou and said in a deep voice, "Hao Zhou, you guys leave first. I'll stay behind to blow up the generator set." What? Fang Heng, are you crazy? Kuan Ta looked at Fang Heng in surprise. I don't agree. Hao Zhou frowned. His answer was also very firm. We just need to close the entrance of the underground parking lot. At most, we'll wait for a while more and wait for Sister Lee's talent skill to finish cooling down before we blow up the generator set and leave this place. Yeah, there's no need for you to take such a big risk and stay here alone. It's too dangerous. No, we don't have enough time. Fang Heng shook his head. He had made this decision after careful consideration. Our biggest threat comes from the vine zombies in the morgue. My focused flamethrower doesn't have enough spare fuel. Even without the harassment of the ordinary zombies, we won't be able to last for more than 30 minutes. Secondly, if we use the flamethrower for a long time, it will cause the building to catch fire. At that time, it will be even harder for us to escape. Everyone fell silent again. The current situation was even worse than they had imagined. Let's not delay any longer. I have an idea. I need you to escape through the entrance of the underground garage. After you leave, I will immediately activate the explosives and blow up the generator set. The explosion will attract the zombies and reduce the pressure on you guys. Hao Zhou frowned and quickly thought about Fang Heng's plan. It sounded like there was no problem with the plan. Even if Fang Heng failed and didn't blow up the generator set, they had a high chance of escaping. Except for one thing, Fang Heng's safety. What about you? What are you going to do after you blow up the generator set? How are you going to escape by yourself? I have my ways to survive. Fang Heng shrugged and added, my equipment is not bad. Ah. This familiar excuse made Hao Zhou's expression freeze. Was this considered not bad? If it was in the latter stages of the game, it would indeed be considered not bad, but now it was in the early stages of the game. How many days had it been since the game started? But even so, could he survive such a dangerous situation? All right, if you're confident, I agree to this plan. After some consideration, Hao Zhou decided to go with Fang Heng's plan. Very well, but before that, I need you to do a few things for me, very quickly. Fang Heng pulled Hao Zhou aside and whispered a few words into his ear. Then, he took out a few small explosives from his backpack. Hao Zhou listened to Fang Heng and looked at him in surprise. He felt that he couldn't understand the young man in front of him anymore. What was he going to do? The more powerful the explosion, the better. But, he should try his best not to hurt the structure of the hospital. It didn't matter if the explosion was big or not. Could it be that he wanted to use the explosion to destroy the zombies? Under ideal conditions, he could do that. But, how could Fang Heng deal with the zombies that were attracted by the explosion? They were dealing with up to 100 to 200 zombies. By then, most of the zombies in the town would be attracted. Tens of thousands of zombies. Also, ordinary zombies would be killed in the explosion, but the vine zombies were different. Their defense was extremely strong. Unless they were very close to the point of explosion, it would be difficult to kill them directly by relying on the shockwave created by the explosion. Hao Zhou didn't know what Fang Heng was doing. He didn't have time to think too much, so he could only reiterate the risk one last time. Fang Heng, your request is technically correct. I can control the location of the explosion and keep the entire hospital intact. When the time comes, you can hide in the room on the right at the end of the corridor to avoid the impact of the explosion to the greatest extent. But the explosion will cause a huge commotion. At that time, the zombies outside will surround the entire hospital. I understand. Believe me, I have a plan. Seeing Fang Heng's determination, Hao Zhou nodded. Okay. After nearly 10 minutes, Fang Heng and Hao Zhou finished setting up the small explosives and returned to the entrance of the stairs on the first floor. Let's go. Fang Heng raised the focus flamethrower and led the way. The team rushed to the first floor again. However, as soon as they reached the stairs on the first floor, they saw a dense mass of zombies gathered at the entrance. Fang Heng's expression slightly changed. Why are there so many zombies? The number of zombies gathered on the first floor had completely exceeded his expectations. The iron railings that were blocking the entrance of the passage had been destroyed by the zombies, and the parking lot was also packed with zombies. In addition, there were also a large number of vine zombies gathered at the left side of the passage. The only good news was that the vine zombies were blocked by ordinary zombies, so they couldn't get through for the time being. Such a scene made Hao Zhou and the others' scalps go numb. The zombies became even more agitated when they smelled the scent of living people and crazily rushed toward Fang Heng and the others. Hao Zhou broke out in cold sweat and hurriedly shouted. Quick! Activate the barrier. Sister Li had released the perception barrier in advance. A barrier that couldn't be detected by the naked eye enveloped Fang Heng and the others. The zombies on the ground floor instantly lost their perception of living things and became quiet again. The manual control device is over there. Hao Zhou pointed at the entrance of the underground parking lot and shouted. The situation was critical, so they could only activate the perception barrier ahead of time. Fang Heng pulled out his machete. After the perception barrier was activated, they still needed to deal with the zombies inside the perception barrier. The entire lower level was blocked by a dense crowd of zombies, so they couldn't move fast. Bang! They came to the entrance of the underground garage with great difficulty. Fang Heng smashed the glass cover with one punch and turned the emergency closing device inside the glass cover. The iron shutter door slowly descended. Hao Zhou and the others quickly moved to the other side of the shutter door. Fang Heng, come out alive. Don't worry. Leave it to me. Fang Heng gave Hao Zhou a thumbs up. Crack. The door of the garage was completely closed. Hao Zhou saw that Fang Heng had completely disappeared from his sight. He then closed the outer iron gate and waved his hand. Let's go. Let's go. On the other side of the iron gate, Fang Heng switched to the focus flamethrower again. He turned around and looked at the vast zombie crowd. After leaving the range of Sister Li's perception barrier, the zombie crowd immediately sensed Fang Heng and rushed toward him crazily. The parking lot was relatively empty and the zombies crowded together, which was perfect for the use of the focus flamethrower. This thing is good, but it costs money. Fang Heng murmured and activated the focus flamethrower again. Boom. The focus flamethrower shot out blue high-temperature flames. The flames instantly engulfed the zombie crowd. The zombies were on fire one after another as they fell in front of Fang Heng. Fang Heng walked toward the passage while controlling the flamethrower to kill the zombies. When the temperature of the focus flamethrower reached 100%, 70% to 80% of the zombies had already fallen. Hint: you have killed an ordinary zombie *1225, obtained 2,230 survival points, obtained evolution crystal fragment *214, obtained skill weapon mastery experience points 810. Fang Heng killed his way to the stairs on the first floor. Then, he took out a Molotov cocktail from his backpack and threw it at the vine zombies on the left side of the passage. Bang. Bang. The Molotov cocktail broke into pieces. A small flame burned on the ground. The damage from the Molotov cocktail was continuous, but the instantaneous damage was far less than that of the focused flamethrower. Although the vine zombies were injured by the Molotov cocktail and their bodies were burning, they still staggered out of the burning area and walked toward Fang Heng. The fire raised the temperature of the environment again. More vine zombies were attracted by the noise outside and they staggered out of the morgue. Fang Heng threw 2 more Molotov cocktails into the corridor, further reducing the HP of the vine zombies that left the morgue. Almost done. If that's the case, all of them would be blown up later. Fang Heng muttered to himself. At most, I'll kill them all later. Estimating that the time was almost up, Fang Heng turned around and rushed to the stairs behind him, heading straight for the first floor. Fang Heng continuously pressed the small explosive pack switch that he had long installed. Then, he quickly dashed into the room at the bottom of the first floor that he had prepared beforehand. According to what he and Hao Zhou had discussed previously, once the explosives exploded, other than the generator room, the impact of the damage on the inner side of the entire passage would be the strongest. Fang Heng followed Hao Zhou's instructions and hid in a corner. He put on his helmet and counted in his heart. Boom. 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 After the 5-minute countdown, Hao Zhou and the others who were trying their best to create an escape route in the zombie crowd exploded behind them. The zombies who were originally occupying the small town were affected by the loud explosion. They turned around and gathered in the direction of the sound. The number of zombies around Hao Zhou began to decrease rapidly. Sister Li said in a deep voice, "The perception barrier can last for 1 minute." Hearing that, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Based on the current situation, 1 minute was enough for them to leave the dense zombie crowd. By that time, they could leave the small town safely even without the perception barrier. Fang Heng squatted in a corner of the room at the end of the first floor. To ensure his safety, he even put on a motorcycle helmet. The building shook violently and small stone chips kept falling from the ceiling. The loud explosion even made Fang Heng's ears ring for a short while. Hao Zhou said that this room was the safest place to hide in, but he still created such a big commotion outside. After the building shook for a while, Fang Heng supported himself against the wall and stood up. He opened the door to the room. The outside passage was in a mess. Hint: you have killed the corpse vine parasite *62. You have obtained 151 samples of the corpse vine parasite. You have obtained 3,720 survival points. Hint: you have accumulated 153 samples of the corpse vine parasite. Of course, the mission completion rate is 306%. Ha 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 ha. It was a huge profit. The plan went extremely smoothly. The preset explosion had wiped out all the corpse vine parasites in the passage. Looking at the game log data, Fang Heng was in a great mood. Including the 2 sets of T-virus serum, he had completed 200% of the basic experience points and 306% of the side mission completion rate. With simple calculations, even if he left now, he would receive 1*2*200%*300%, which was 12 times the mission reward. However, Fang Heng was not prepared to leave so easily. Where was he now? Inside the passage, a large number of corpse vine parasites had fallen. There were many shiny evolution crystals on the ground. Tier 1 crystal. Fang Heng saw the purple Tier 1 crystal at a glance and waved his hand forward. The crystal on the ground instantly flew into Fang Heng's palm. Hint: you have obtained a complete evolution crystal *52, you have obtained a Tier 1 evolution crystal *4. It was out. A Tier 1 evolution crystal. It could only be dropped when killing Tier 2 and above mutated zombies. Fang Heng held a thumb-sized purple crystal in his hand and observed it. Item: Tier 1 evolution crystal. Description: a powerful crystal that can provide players with level 10 to 20 experience points. I haven't reached level 10 yet, so I don't need it for now. Fang Heng put the Tier 1 crystal into his bag and crushed the complete evolution crystal he had just collected. A ball of red mist entered his palm and his character's experience bar jumped by a large chunk. The number of complete crystals required for a character to level up from 9 to 10 was the most. There was less than a quarter of the experience bar left to level up. Creak, creak, creak. The sound of vines growing and entangling could be heard in the corridor again. The vine zombies had strong vitality. Even though they had been hit by a violent explosion not long ago, some of them were still alive. They stood up shakily from the ground and moved toward Fang Heng again. Fang Heng raised the focused flamethrower again. Before coming to the town hospital, he didn't expect to meet the vine zombies. Due to the limited load, he only brought 5 cans of fuel. After the previous battle, there were only 2 cans left. Judging from the number of morgue cabinets in the morgue, there were only about 150 vine zombies in there at most. This explosion had destroyed at least 2/3 of them, so there shouldn't be much left in the first underground floor. There was almost enough fuel left. Boom. The flamethrower roared again, burning the remaining vine zombies in the passage into black ash. Hint: you have killed the corpse vine parasite *11. You have obtained a sample of the corpse vine parasite *10, 566 survival points, a complete evolution crystal *9 and a Tier 1 evolution crystal *1. Hint: you have accumulated a sample of the corpse vine parasite *163. Current side mission completion rate, 326%. After cleaning up the remaining vine zombies, Fang Heng went to the entrance of the basement to check. The entrance of the underground passage had been completely blocked by the falling gravel. This was the special design of Hao Zhou. He had installed the small explosive packs at the precise location. He used the explosion to block the intersection. This way, Fang Heng could temporarily avoid the trouble of dealing with the vine zombies in the basement. He needed to focus on dealing with the zombie crowd attracted by the explosion outside. Fang Heng licked his lips. He had already heard the sound of zombies scratching the door of the hospital. Outside the hospital, the zombies were attracted by the explosion and were rushing crazily toward the hospital. They surrounded the entire hospital and had already tried to attack the windows and doors of the hospital. These were all normal phenomena. The sound would stimulate the zombies. According to the game experience in this body's memory, Fang Heng estimated that the zombies outside the hospital would keep scratching the door for about 3 to 5 hours. After about 2 to 3 days, the zombies around the hospital would gradually disperse. The first 3 to 5 hours were the most critical. Fang Heng looked at the time again. There were 15 minutes left before his zombie clones were resurrected. The plan began. Fang Heng quickly went upstairs and came to the staff restaurant on the 2nd floor of the hospital. The terrain here was more open. The environment was more suitable for the zombie clones to fight. In the restaurant, 2 ordinary zombies pounced on Fang Heng. Fang Heng waved his machete and quickly killed the remaining zombies in the restaurant. Then, he reinforced all the windows in the restaurant with wooden planks and made several bonfires for lighting. After all the preparations were done, Fang Heng stood quietly on the spot. The screams of the zombies were getting closer and closer. Apparently, they had broken through the windows and the gate of the hospital and rushed into the hospital. A few minutes later, Fang Heng heard the zombies start to hit the entrance door of the restaurant. Fang Heng waited quietly. The entrance had been reinforced several times, so it could still hold on for a while. 10 seconds left. Fang Heng flipped through the game log and counted down softly. 9, 8, 7. When the countdown for the resurrection of the zombie clones arrived, dozens of illusory magic arrays gradually appeared around Fang Heng's feet. One by one, zombie clones wearing lumberjack uniforms crawled out of the magic arrays. They all held wooden spears in their hands. They're here. They're resurrected. Fang Heng controlled the resurrected zombies to gather in front of the entrance of the restaurant and gave the order to the zombie clones to guard the restaurant. Meanwhile, he held a shotgun in his hand and carefully retreated to the back. More and more zombies gathered outside the door, and the sound of scratching on the door became louder and louder. Bang! The door was broken through. A group of zombies rushed into the room like a tide. Then, they were pierced through with the wooden spears held by the zombie clones who were prepared for this. Chi! Chi chi! For a moment, the restaurant was filled with the dry sound of wooden spears piercing into flesh. Due to the enhancement of Fang Heng's body, the attributes of the zombie clones were also enhanced. The most direct effect was that the zombie clones used to need more than 10 stabs to kill an ordinary zombie of the same kind. Now, they only needed 6 or 7 stabs. Moreover, the interval between stabs had also improved a lot. The efficiency of killing the enemies had been greatly increased. The 45 zombie clones formed a stable defensive line and killed the zombies one by one. Normal zombies couldn't break through this defensive line at all. They fell in front of the line one by one as if they were waiting for death. Hint: your zombie clone has killed a normal zombie. You have gained 2 survival points. Hint: your zombie clone has killed a normal zombie. You have gained 2 survival points. Hint: your zombie clone has killed a normal zombie. You have gained 2 survival points. Hint: your zombie clone has killed a normal. Rows of game notifications appeared, filling up the game log window. Fang Heng had no time to read the game log. He was staring intensely at the entrance of the restaurant. Ordinary zombies were no threat to him at all. The zombie clones had no energy or vitality. They could attack and deal damage 24 hours a day without consuming ammunition. These ordinary zombies were no different from an assembly line giving experience points. They were not a concern to Fang Heng. Even if there were hundreds of thousands of zombies outside, he wasn't afraid. The premise was that they had to keep coming over without causing the whole building to collapse. Right now, Fang Heng was most worried about the mutated zombies. His current zombie clones couldn't defend against attacks from the mutated zombies. If they encountered the mutated zombies, they would be killed. Once the number of zombie clones decreased to a certain extent, his defensive line would also collapse. Fang Heng held a shotgun in his hand and stared at the entrance. After a period of gaming, Fang Heng had already fused most of this body's memories of the game. Through the movements of the zombies and some of their subtle actions, he could distinguish the form and type of the zombies. Coupled with the enhancement of his perceptive ability. It's coming. Mutated zombie physique enhancement. As soon as the mutated zombie, which was mixed in with the ordinary zombies, stepped through the entranceway, a figure flashed to its side. The dark muzzle was aimed at the mutated zombie's head. Boom. Fang Heng pulled the trigger. Half of the mutated zombie's head was blown into pieces by the shotgun at close range. It was a bloody mess. The mutated zombie, which had the physique enhancement attribute, was still not completely dead, and its body could not help but fall backwards. It's quite fleshy. Fang Heng muttered softly, and once again pulled the trigger. Boom. The second shot completely blasted the remaining half of the mutated zombie's head into pieces. After clearing out the mutated zombie that was mixed in the zombie crowd, Fang Heng quickly retreated. Amazing. Fang Heng couldn't help but be amazed at the enhancement effect brought by his physical quality. In the past, killing mutated zombies wouldn't be so easy. This time, I'll probably be able to collect a lot of crystal fragments. When the time comes, I'll see if Qiu Yaokong has any other enhancement potions. At 9 p.m., the sky was completely dark. Hao Zhou and the others returned to the Federation's temporary warehouse to seek shelter. The few of them sat around the bonfire. Everyone was in low spirits and remained silent. The moment they returned to the warehouse, they immediately tried to look for Old Black. However, Old Black had already disappeared without a trace. They could not contact him online or offline. As for Fang Heng, Hao Zhou also tried to send him a message, but he did not receive any response. They all felt that Fang Heng's situation was not good. In the game, sending messages to a friend via the survival radio was very limited. If a friend was a distance away or was not online, including death, even if they sent him a message, he would not be able to receive it. And as the sender, Hao Zhou also could not know whether Fang Heng had received the message or not. Sisterly broke the silence and asked, "Is there still no news from Fang Heng?" Hao Zhou shook his head. It's been so long and he still hasn't replied. I'm afraid he's doomed. Kuan Ba clenched his fists, feeling pain in his heart. Not only had he not completed the mission, but he had also lost a teammate. Just thinking about it made him feel unbearable. Everyone's mood was a little low. When they escaped from the town, they saw with their own eyes that so many zombies were gathering toward the community hospital. The hospital was surrounded by more than 10 layers of zombies and there was no way to escape. The impact of the explosion was much stronger than they had expected. Hao Zhou regretted it when he saw this scene. He regretted agreeing to leave Fang Heng alone in the hospital. He put himself in Fang Heng's shoes. If it was him, he couldn't think of any way to survive given the conditions. But Hao Zhou still had a glimmer of hope for Fang Heng. What if? What if he could? What if he had some special equipment? Hao Zhou sighed in his heart. Everyone is tired today. Go offline and rest. I'll stay a little longer and try to contact Old Black and Fang Heng. As he said this, Hao Zhou was suddenly stunned by something. His expression changed slightly and he immediately opened the survival radio to check. Fang Heng, thank you, I'm fine. I've already edited the recording. When I go offline, I'll find an opportunity to give you. Give me your email address. Hao Zhou was greatly surprised and immediately replied by giving Fang Heng his email address. What's wrong? Did you find something? Old Black replied to you. No. Hao Zhou looked up and his eyes regained their excitement. It's Fang Heng. He's fine. That's great. He even completed the mission. Sisterly was surprised at first, but then her expression softened. She nodded. It's good that he's fine. Pa. The two brothers, Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta, excitedly high-fived each other and regained their smiles. Brother, I knew he would be fine. Haha, that guy is indeed very resourceful. He can still escape under that state. Needless to say, his equipment has always been pretty good. Those zombies still can't deal with him. Ha 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 ha. Kuan Ba was quite happy. As he spoke, he turned his head and asked, Hao Zhou, where is he now? I don't know. He asked me to give him my email address. He will send me the video of the explosion of the generator set when he is free. Kuan Ba nodded, but he felt that something was not right. He asked in surprise, That's not right. Since he has come out, why didn't he come to find us directly? Huh. This question made everyone, who was initially joyful, fell into silence again. They turned their heads to look in the direction of Hope Town at the same time. Could it be? Are you trying to say that he's still in the community hospital? What else? Otherwise, why didn't he come to us directly to collect the reward together? Hao Zhou opened his mouth. Fang Heng was still in the town hospital all by himself. Let me ask him. Hao Zhou immediately contacted Fang Heng again, and everyone inched forward and gathered around the survival radio to check. Hao Zhou, you're still in the hospital. How's the situation? Do you want us to go back and save you? Fang Heng, yes, I'm still here. Don't come looking for me. I'm in a good condition now. I'll find an opportunity to log off and send the video to you guys first. Seeing the reply from Fang Heng on the survival radio, everyone fell into silence again. A person guarding the small town hospital that was surrounded by countless zombies. How could he live well? He even had the time to log off and send Hao Zhou a video file. What kind of situation was this? What was his strength like? Hao Zhou and the others could not understand. Kuan Ta scratched his head and asked, Brother, what equipment can keep him in there for so long? Kuan Ba shook his head. He could not think of an answer either. The focused flamethrower was one of them, but a player's backpack was only so big. It was impossible to carry so much fuel inside. Moreover, the focused flamethrower had a cooldown limit, so it could not be used for a long time. Hao Zhou laughed bitterly and said, "To be precise, the question is where did he get so many high-level weapons?" The few of them looked at one another again. Sister Li joked, "I think he emptied the Apocalypse Merchant Camp." "He can even empty the Apocalypse Merchant Camp?" Hao Zhou was also amused. "Don't tell me he's related to the Apocalypse Merchant." The two brothers, Kuan Ba and Kuan Ta, turned their heads to look at Hao Zhou at the same time. "Isn't it so?" In the game, Fang Heng was sitting in front of a bonfire. His whole body was aching. He was too tired. The zombies outside the hospital continued to attack the entrances of the hospital for 3.5 hours. After that, they slowly stopped. Fang Heng divided the zombies into two groups. A small group was responsible for cleaning the rooms on the second and third floors of the hospital and collecting materials. Fang Heng himself led a large group of zombie clones to launch a counterattack, cleaning the first floor from the stairway. The first floor of the hospital had been completely occupied by the zombies. Fang Heng had no choice but to clean up the zombies that were pouring in from the outside. At the same time, he had to find time to reinstall the windows that were broken by the zombies. All of this would take a lot of time. It was easy to repair the ordinary small windows, but the last one was the entrance to the hospital. The zombies that were pouring in from the outside were inexhaustible. After a few rounds of going back and forth, Fang Heng had to change his plan. He forcibly used the focused flamethrower to burn a wave of zombies outside, buying himself some time. Only then did he manage to seal the entrance. After closing the door, the zombies outside began to gather around and continue scratching the door. Fang Heng also had a countermeasure. He chose a few zombie clones and ordered them to keep repairing the door. As for the repair materials, he didn't lack them either. He could just chop any furniture or tables. It wasn't until 5 minutes ago did Fang Heng manage to maintain the durability of the door. He then had time to catch his breath and reply to Hao Zhou. How tiring. The zombies that were sent out to search around the hospital began to return one by one, bringing some materials. Fang Heng sat in front of the bonfire and counted his earnings for the day. Hard work was hard work, but the earnings were equally gratifying. He had killed a total of more than 6,000 zombies, earning more than 10,000 survival points. The ammunition that he had used up previously had cost a lot of survival points. The survival points that he had gained from the scavenging were enough to recoup his losses. He also earned more than 1,000 evolution crystal fragments. When he get back, he could let Qiu Yaokong study them for a while. Finally, there were all kinds of miscellaneous items and books that had a small chance of dropping after a zombie died. Fang Heng opened the small manuals in front of him one by one. Recipe: stir-fried meat with green pepper. Recipe: shredded potatoes with hot and sour sauce. Recipe: eggs with spring onion. Recipe: stewed eggplant in oil. I don't want to be a chef. Why do you keep giving me recipes? Fang Heng felt his body ache. He opened the last manual. There's finally a skill book. Fang Heng experienced a moment of joy. Skill book, Miner's Wisdom. Description: after use, master the skill Miner's Wisdom. Skill description: there is a 0.005% chance to obtain precious metals when excavating high-value ores. This skill can be upgraded to level 20. The skill level cannot exceed the current player's level. Fang Heng's face turned black. Okay, Miner Skill Book. In the old server, almost every professional bricklayer in the game had one copy. With this skill, they were lucky enough to dig out an extra piece of gold when they were mining. The gold could be exchanged for a lot of materials from the Apocalypse merchants. This skill book was a must-have for the workers, increasing their output. It's just the lives of the workers. It was better than nothing. After all, the zombie clones could also inherit the skill. In the future, the zombies would be able to dig out some gold when they were mining. Fang Heng patted the recipe and the skill book on his head. Hint: you have learned the recipe: stir-fried meat with green pepper. Recipe: shredded potatoes with hot and sour sauce. Recipe: eggs with spring onion, recipe, stewed eggplant in oil, you have gained cooking skill experience points 82. Hint, you have learned the skill miner's wisdom, level 1. Putting away the skill book, Fang Heng went offline on the spot. He went to the rest room to take a nap. Before he left, Fang Heng used the game cabin to export the video of the explosion of the generator set and sent it to the email address specified by Haozhou. Morning, 2 a.m. The computer screen played the scene of the warehouse being destroyed. Old Black took out his phone and dialed the number skillfully. Mission completed. Alex is expected to activate within 20 to 40 hours. Well done. The Tier 4 complete mutated zombie will go berserk. When that happens, the Federation will have a headache dealing with him. Hee, this will at least slow down their main storyline mission progress for half a month. Continue to track down the remaining T-virus serum. We must take down this world. At the same time, the Federation warehouse resource point had also noticed the changes in the town. The leader of the Federal Action Team, Lindong, frowned. Not long ago, he received an order from his superior to set up a warehouse resource point here, in charge of collecting materials from the outside world. Apart from that, he also had another important mission. He had to pay attention and observe Hope Town, and think of a way to clean up the zombies in the town. Lindong learned from his superior that there was a secret research room of the meteorite company hidden somewhere in this town. There might even be a T-virus serum in the secret research room. The T-virus serum was a mission item related to the Dark Knights. And the Dark Knights were closely related to the main storyline mission of the apocalyptic world. There was a very limited amount of T-virus serum left in every server of the zombie apocalypse game. This meant that only a very small number of players had access to the core main storyline mission of the zombie apocalypse game. Once all these players died or the Dark Knights were wiped out, then this zombie apocalypse world might never have an ending. And the ending meant that this world belonged to. Originally, Lindong was very relieved. He felt that with the current zombie density in Hope Town, it was impossible for players to enter the town and take the T-virus serum. By the time the game was released the next day, the superiors had already assigned him 100 professional players trained by the federal government to join the temporary warehouse resource point. At that time, he could use the strength of these people to lock down Hope Town and firmly control the T-virus serum in the town. However, the violent explosion just now made Lindong feel a little uneasy. He decided to wait until his helpers entered tomorrow and then bring them to try to enter Hope Town to check it out. At 3 o'clock in the morning, at Phoenix Sound Gaming Company. Fang Heng woke up in the company's lounge. After resting for 5 to 6 hours, he got up again and entered the game. Alex would wake up after 30 hours when the power was cut off. He needed to think of a way to complete the mission within 30 hours and then leave this damn place completely. This mission is really difficult. Fang Heng returned to the game, and the zombies outside were still scratching the door. Hint, during the time you are offline, your zombie group has completed the search of the first to third floors of the hospital. You have obtained cigarette *2, honey jar *1, fructose *20, disposable syringe *21, medical bandage *10, first aid kit *7, frozen food bag *20, sample collector *12, blood bag *29, underground pipeline maintenance map *1. Hint, during the time you are offline, your zombies destroy the wooden door *23, destroy the wooden stool *541, destroy the wooden table *231, obtain firewood *37816, discarded plastic *17176, rusty nails *21. Hint, during the time you are offline, your zombies complete the production of the wooden planks *4033. Tip, during the time you are offline, your zombie has continuously reinforced the wooden door and consumed the wooden planks *823. The underground pipeline maintenance map. Fang Heng found the map from a pile of materials collected by the zombies and examined it in his hand. There was an underground pipeline in the hospital. In other words, the hospital had other exits besides the front entrance. However, the entrance of the pipeline was on the basement level. Perhaps I can leave the town from that place. Fang Heng whispered and temporarily put away the blueprints. He then shifted his gaze to a small box at the side. In the box lay 12 tubular objects, about the size of a palm. Sample collector. Item, sample collector. Description: Meteorite Company's latest generation of live sample collectors, safe, fast and efficient. Additional description: this sample collector can only collect living organisms. Place the A side of the sample collector on the living organism's surface, press the red button, wait for 30 seconds and it will automatically complete the sample collection. This collector seems to be related to the mission. So, other than directly killing the vine zombies, there are other ways to collect samples. Fang Heng took out a sample collector and held it in his hand to observe. However, it could only collect living organisms. Thinking of the vine zombies with strong close combat ability, Fang Heng couldn't help but feel troubled. He didn't think that he could rush up and control the vine zombies for a full 30 seconds. Unless the vine zombies were still dormant. He wouldn't force it. He would try again later when the opportunity comes. Fang Heng carefully put away the collector and looked at the entrance of the hospital, which was being scratched by the zombies outside. He didn't have time to waste with the endless zombies outside. Fang Heng left 2 zombies to repair the wooden door. Then, he led the rest of the zombies back to the entrance of the buried underground passage. The zombie clones took out their stone pickaxes and dug the passage again. Half an hour later, the buried passage was completely dug out by the zombie clones. Fang Heng raised the focused flamethrower. There were less than 2 bottles of fuel left. Most of the vine zombies had been killed in the afternoon. It was estimated that there were only about 50 vine zombies left in the morgue. It was enough. After entering the basement, the vine zombies gathered in 2s and 3s. Boom. Fang Heng didn't say anything else. He turned on the focused flamethrower and killed them instantly. Then, he killed his way back to the morgue at the end of the passage. Because he was worried about the fire, Fang Heng had no choice but to go back and forth a few times. He led the vine zombies into the empty passage and killed them again. Hint: you have killed the corpse vine infected body *23. You have obtained 680 survival points. You have obtained a sample of the infection *46. Hint: you have obtained a complete evolution crystal *18. You have obtained a tier 1 evolution crystal *2. After a series of operations, the vine zombies in the morgue was completely cleaned up by Fang Heng. Unfortunately, I didn't find a chance to use the sample collector. As Fang Heng spoke, he crushed the complete evolution crystal that he had found along the way. Looking at it carefully, he was less than 1/6 of the experience points away from leveling up. Fang Heng entered the morgue again. He turned on his flashlight and opened the door of the secret research room in the morgue. The path in front of the secret research room was blocked by lush plants. These plants were corpse vines. Fang Heng didn't dare to get too close. If he wasn't careful and get infected by the corpse vines, then it would be troublesome. But wouldn't using a flamethrower in this small room cause a fire? Wait, what is this? Fang Heng was hesitating when he suddenly noticed that there were 2 other experiment manuals on the table. Hint: you have obtained detailed data of Alex's research. Hint: you have obtained detailed data of the corpse vine parasite infection experiment. Hint: you can give the manual to the Apocalypse Merchant Vettel in exchange for additional survival points. Fang Heng first flipped open Alex's research data. The data in the manual were all related to the experimental subject Alex, including the amount of the virus injected, the injection environment and so on. Looking at the rows of data, Fang Heng felt a headache. He roughly knew that Alex's physical strength was very strong, the kind that could break a wall with one punch. Moreover, its life recovery ability was also very strong. The more effective way to deal with Alex was a fire attack, as he was more afraid of fire. Fang Heng picked up another corpse vine parasite experimental data to check. This record book was full of data about the corpse vine parasite infection. A part of it was about how the corpse vine parasites completed their parasitism. It looked very simple. The 5 corpse vines in the secret laboratory were all products that had been modified hundreds of times. They were very easy to parasitize. As long as the zombie was close to the corpse vine would take the initiative to attack and forcefully complete the parasitism. An ordinary corpse needed about 7 days to complete the entire parasitism process. Fang Heng raised his eyebrows. He suddenly had an idea. Originally, the corpse vines parasitized through the corpses, so could the zombies do it? If the zombies could do it, Could his zombie clone do it? Fang Heng's heart couldn't help but thump violently. If his zombie clone could be strengthened to the same level as the vine zombies, he would be able to kill mutated zombies. However, Fang Heng lowered his head to think again. He flipped to one of the pages of the experiment team's notebook. 4.5. 1. It's parasitic. We found that the corpse vine had completely invaded the brain of the corpse and digested its host's head within 7 days. After that, the corpse vine took over and controlled the corpse to move. The process was very bloody. The head of the corpse would explode on its own, and a plant-like tentacle would grow out of the neck. 2. We needed more samples for testing. 3. To experiment quietly, the dean agreed to temporarily close the morgue. Fang Heng lowered his head and said in a low voice while thinking, to summarize, the corpse vine controls the corpse through parasitism. In other words, zombies and corpses could be parasitized as well. If his zombie clone was controlled by the corpse vine and turned into a corpse vine parasite, would he lose control of his zombie clone? Who cares? Let's give it a try. It was just a clone, and it could be resurrected after less than 20 hours, so Fang Heng didn't feel bad about it. Fang Heng immediately controlled a zombie to slowly approach the corpse vine. Chi. 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 The corpse vine immediately reacted to the zombie. The originally dangling vine instantly revived and quickly wrapped around the zombie. In the blink of an eye, the zombie clone was tightly wrapped by the vine. The corpse vine went into the zombie's open mouth. Fang Heng frowned. Rows of game notifications were refreshed in the log. Hint: your zombie has been infected by a special parasite. Hint: an abnormality has been detected. Hint: your zombie clone will be infected within 5 to 7 days. Hint: your zombie clone is being enhanced, you will lose control of your zombie clone. Hint: you can quickly complete the parasitism by consuming survival points and evolution crystal fragments. You can also remove the parasitic state and retain the positive enhancement effect. Hint: this enhancement effect will be retained forever, even after death and resurrection.